Good evening, everyone. I'm Rick Walker with Maverick Multimedia, and this is live coverage of Freedom Convoy 2022 continuing, and I am here with my co-host,
Brendan Kennedy, the host of the Flow of Discourse podcast.
How are you tonight, Brendan?
Oh, doing really good. Crazy day. Not as crazy as the people who are in Ottawa. There's so much going on there. The number of arrests. Pretty much all the convoy organizers are in jail, is my understanding. Tamara Litch. Pat King was arrested too, not too long ago. Yeah, so like so many things have happened so quickly. I guess we were kind of wrong about them pushing in the dead of night. They kind of decided a sunny afternoon would do on a Friday.
Yep.
They weren't wrong about this weekend being different than the others.
Right. So yes, we've been providing coverage through the day. We were on air live right up until about an hour ago. Coverage started around 9:30 this morning. As word, is that right? I can't remember what time we went on.
Oh, it was like 12:15.
Was it noon? Yeah, I guess maybe it was closer to noon. My apologies. It was the other morning that it was about 9. So yeah, we around noon we went on, and that's when we started to see police move into the area in large numbers, very large numbers, and take very decisive, assertive action, aggressive action, moving in literally thousands of police officers in riot gear. And we've been providing live coverage from there all day. And my brain is a little bit cooked, folks, from doing just that and kind of trying to process everything that I've been looking at. It's been an amazing, dark day. In my view, a day that will go down in history as a stain on Canada, a stain on our government, and a stain on
Please thumbs up
police.
The slide footage, bro. Please thumbs up the slide
this
footage
is going
so
to
it can spread
do
out to as many people as possible.
long-term, if not irreparable damage to the relationship, I think, between police and the public. I think police tonight are being used as a political tool, and I think this is a key moment in time, a key moment in Canadian history, where we are witnessing an attempt to fundamentally transform our country and our society. This is more than just a protest. This is more than something to do with people's health. This is a power grab by our Prime Minister, who I think is abusing the Emergencies Act, which is the modern equivalent of, or the rebranded, if you will, War Measures Act. That's what it is. And people need to wrap their heads around that. He has invoked the War Measures Act. And he has declared war on his own people, and he has militarized police services in an attempt to go in there and crush his political opposition, because that's what these protesters are. They are political opponents, people who are fed up with his health mandates, and they want their freedom back. They're fed up with the way that their rights have been stripped away from them. And today, all day, they've been standing their ground peacefully in the face of this massive police surge into the Parliament Hill area. Thoughts, Brendan?
I can't believe it's come to this, especially because last night we had seen out in Western Canada that the real domestic terrorism took place at a oil and gas manufacturer, oil and gas work site, where they went and did over $1 million in damage, and they literally assaulted police members who went out there.
Yeah, it was my understanding they went in there with axes. These people who did this damage, they overturned heavy equipment, massive front-end loaders that we saw images of. They set something on fire. They destroyed a building of some kind on the site.
Yes, like a work trailer. They ripped the wall right off the work trailer. It's estimated approximately 100 individuals took place in that. I highly doubt there's been any word from Justin Trudeau about that at all.
But here, where we've had people dancing in the streets, waving Canadian flags, shoveling snow, where crime has been down demonstrably and measurably, with the government's own statistics, by 90% since truckers moved into the Parliament Hill area, where they've been feeding the homeless, feeding anyone who comes by for free, where there's been no violence of any kind in 3 weeks during this peaceful protest, where the Prime Minister has responded by trying to label them fascist, Nazi, misogynistic racists, and rather than come out to talk to them about what they want, which is the end of mandates, these medical mandates, which have stripped Canadians of their freedoms, instead of coming out to talk to them, engage in any kind of dialogue, he has gone straight to the implementation and invocation of the War Measures Act. And so tonight, the police purge continues. This paramilitary force,
And you know, I don't see anything on Justin Trudeau's Twitter about what had occurred last night, and I highly doubt the War Measures Act is going to have any effect on what those people had done. It's like, this is clearly them choosing who their enemies are and then using the media to turn everything against common people who are fed up with all this crap that the government has put everybody through.
100%. This is the government not wanting to send in the military because they know that to use the military against their own people is bad optics, bad politics. So what they've done instead is they're using the military in a consulting role behind the scenes, and combining that with a reinforced Ottawa police service, bolstered by thousands of police officers brought in from other police services across Canada and mostly, I think, Ontario and Quebec, but from all over, thousands of police officers to put together a personal paramilitary force for Justin Trudeau so that he can have them go in here and crush people that he just plain has no respect for and just doesn't like. That's what this is.
Please subscribe, folks.
That's what this is.
Please subscribe. It helps
He doesn't
this
like
footage
these people.
reach out to more people.
They're just commoners,
So feel free to subscribe
working class
and thumbs up
truckers,
this live footage. Thank you very much.
smelly farmers.
And you know that he's all for what they did out west. Like him and his buddy Stephen Guilbeault, like that's exactly what they stand for. They stand for that type of terrorism. They don't want blue collar people to have those kinds of jobs. They want to eliminate those jobs. And there won't be a word that comes out of the Prime Minister's office about what happened. It's just going to be like exactly like the churches that we had seen, that they'll just stay silent on the whole issue.
And you know, Brendan, I had some thoughts about this. Everything that's been done so far has been, in one way or another, a way to send a message to people. This is Justin Trudeau sending a message don't even think about opposing me. If you do, I will crush you. That's what this is. That's why they didn't do it in the dead of night. That's why police didn't come in when the crowd was thin, when the numbers were down at their lowest point. They waited until a Friday when they knew more people would be coming into the area. They waited until it was broad daylight, middle of the day, with lots of media out there, strategically placed CBC cameras.
Yes. Yes.
And they don't care about the level of violence that people see tonight because they're going to spin it so that they villainize and demonize the protesters. And they're going to,
They didn't get the memo that we're not here for them.
again, send a message through all of this. And I can imagine what the other mainstream legacy media is saying tonight on their 6 p.m. newscasts. I can't watch it right now because, of course, we're on here. But I don't think you'll find much sympathy. You tell me, are we seeing any sympathy or empathy for the protesters?
I had a chance to tune into CP24 this afternoon. I had lots of family obligations today, but I did have a chance to turn into CP24, and it's just like you said. They're just all...
I guess we're just here to keep
like, I watched it for maybe 20-30 minutes, and you heard the word illegal blockade like 100 frickin' times in 30 minutes. The media is set up in a cozy spot behind the police. Like, they don't care about the protesters at all, and they are totally on board. Like, they are the tip of the spear. Like,
they have, just like Justin Trudeau, they have contempt for these commoners, the working class, the redneck hicks, the people who don't speak right, the people who, the unwashed, the unclean, the unvaxxed. They're snobs, bigots. That's what they are. That's what Justin Trudeau is. He's a hate-filled, hate-spewing bigot. He hates working class people. He hates the commoners. He has contempt for them. Zero respect. So much contempt that he can't even be bothered to speak to them. These are the lowly people. These are the people that need to be oppressed and made an example of. Don't even think about getting out of line, or I'll beat you with a stick. I'll send in my personal paramilitary force, and I will crush you. That's the message tonight. And not only will I crush you, I will destroy your life. I will freeze your bank account. I will take everything you have. I will make your life a living hell from this point forward, after I put you in jail. That's what we're seeing here tonight. This is the way these citizens are being treated. This is the way people who have wrapped themselves in the Canadian flag, who have expressed national pride in a way we haven't seen in a long time, who have expressed their yearning for freedom, for a restoration of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, which has been shredded by our federal government, shredded by Justin Trudeau. This is the way he's treating them tonight. Yeah. This is the way Justin Trudeau treats Canadians, because Justin Trudeau doesn't believe in Canada. He never has. He believes Canada is the world's first post-nation state. His words. That means it's not really a country. He believes Canada is a nation without a real identity, which means it's not really a country with an identity at all. He doesn't believe in Canada. Never has. He wants to fundamentally transform our society into something completely different. That's why he doesn't care about all the ways that he's done end runs around our Constitution and our Charter. He doesn't care. He has no respect for anything that has come before. It's all about power. It's all about transforming our country into something resembling a fascistic communist state. under some sort of weird global governance, overseen by unelected, rich elite people who will eventually, if this plan works out, end up governing all the countries in the world in an undemocratic system that sounds so sinister and so weird that everything I'm saying right now makes me think that I'm a conspiracy theorist. But that's really what's going on. This has nothing to do with your health. This has nothing to do with the virus tonight. Think about it, folks. Tell me that this is about a virus.
Absolutely not. And you know,
You guys don't care.
I had the liberty of listening in on an Ottawa citizen chat space that they had on Twitter the other day.
You're right. They should.
And the media has no idea. It's like whatever is happening at the university level, and it's just like you said, total contempt for the common people. They were making fun of people, say, oh, some of them don't know how to talk and this and that and the other thing. Like, they have no idea, and they're so out of touch, and when they get criticized by people, they literally don't get it. They're just like, oh, they said mean words to me. Like, they don't, it's a big mess. Whatever is happening, it's happening on the university level, and
oh, it's worse. It's more than that, Brendan. It's not. You're right about that, but it even goes further. It starts now in kindergarten, where they are indoctrinating our children into a particular political ideology.
yeah,
This is the result. This is also, it's infiltrated all of our corporations, all of our institutions. It's infiltrated our police, where I was giving great thought to this over the last couple of days, where I keep referring to community policing. And that has been abandoned. Community policing is something that really worked well and took hold over a number of years, a number of decades, where police tried to integrate themselves into the community more so that they would be more in touch with the people in their communities. Get out of your cruiser, spend more time on the streets, talking to the people, understanding who is in your community. Learn what's going on. Don't just, get involved in your community. That's what it was about. But they've moved from a community-based, community policing philosophy to a progressive policing philosophy. And as a result, it's equity-based, which doesn't mean equal opportunities or equal application of the law across all people. It means equality of outcome.
yeah.
So, because these truckers are viewed by Justin Trudeau and police services as a bunch of white nationalist, racist, redneck hicks who are the lowest on the social hierarchy based on this woke ideology, these people basically are viewed as the working class types who have no rights. They don't have a voice. They don't deserve a voice because they have all their white privilege. The problem is, it's not just white people down here. It's people from all walks of life. It's every kind of Canadian down here.
Sounds good. Yeah, no.
But Justin Trudeau has painted them with this bigoted brush, and he's trying to make them all the same. And he's been successful enough that he's been able to turn these officers into his personal goon squad to go down there and flush them all out.
For sure, yeah.
And that's what's going on tonight. But you see, if it was a political group that supported Justin Trudeau and his political ideology, they'd get a pass. And we've seen it over and over and over and over and over again. The law is not being applied equally or fairly. It's being applied based on progressive policing philosophy, which is based on equity, equality of outcome. And what they're trying to do is crack down on these people because they're viewed as the lowest of the low socially and are supposed to have everything, be born with a silver spoon in your mouth. And these are supposed to be the people who've historically been racists. So they're the lowest, right?
Yeah.
But if it's another group that is viewed through this ideology as having been oppressed in the past, and therefore today are entitled to additional advantages and privileges, making them more equal than others, because now there are some people are more equal than others. These people aren't equal at all. These are the lowest of the low. These people get to be swept aside. We get to destroy these people because they actually represent the Canada that came before. This is the Canada that Justin Trudeau wants everyone to be ashamed of, that he is trying to paint, and him and his ilk, as racist, something to be embarrassed by, when in reality, that whole line of thinking is sick, demented, twisted, and it's authoritarian. The truth is, over 150 plus years, Canada became the most tolerant, the most welcoming, the kindest, the best, greatest country in the world. There were problems along the way, but over time, those problems were addressed. And it wasn't perfect, but we kept trying to refine it.
Where the hell hasn't there been problems, right? And you're right on the money, because this postmodernist stuff where they're saying, oh, well, because some people are in oppressed groups, all this identity politics crap, which, as we have seen in this entire incident, only the people who are in a different identity politic group, who abide by the woke ideology and that sort of thing, and who follow that, only those people are entitled to anything. And we have Mike McMullen on from London West. Hey, Mike, how are you?
Hey, good. How you doing?
Great. Our special guest joins us tonight.
Hey, well, thanks for having me on. It's definitely crazy times we're seeing here in Canada. That's 100% for sure. And if people aren't awake to what's happening, then I don't know what to say to them at this point.
So what do you make of the police strategy being employed here today and now tonight, Mike?
Well, I think at the end of the day, it's probably going to end up backfiring on the Trudeau government. Justin Trudeau, spent a lot of time going around lecturing world leaders on how to treat protesters. And we are seeing with our own two eyes how Justin Trudeau treats protesters, especially the peaceful ones. And I've been to Ottawa and I've been to Windsor and I've been to some of these rallies myself, and I can tell you that everybody is peaceful, and there's no I haven't seen a shred of violence in any of the stuff that I've been to until the police showed up, and that's when the violence started.
Yes. So we've asked Mike to join us tonight, folks, because he's been involved in politics for a long time. His analysis will be extremely valuable to us tonight. He's also run as a candidate in the previous election, I think the last two elections, at least, for the People's Party of Canada is it London West, Mike?
Yeah, I ran in 2019, and then I ran again in 2021. It was 2021 was definitely a lot more optimistic than 2019. The level of support that we saw here in London, I mean, we could easily get crowds of 2,000 people, at the drop of a hat. And, even our opponents, they couldn't even muster up 4 or 5 people, so there's definitely a change happening, I think, in the political sphere, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. That's absolutely amazing. How many how long do you think that this could hold out? I mean, we've seen in Windsor it lasted overnight.
Yeah, in the Windsor protest, there wasn't as many people as there are in Ottawa. So it was a lot easier for the police to pick people off one by one. I saw maybe at the protest, because they had certain protest areas that you could go to. So at the one protest area, I saw maybe a couple of thousand people there, but I never. We weren't even close to the bridge. We were probably about 5 kilometers or 5 miles actually away from the bridge, so we didn't really see what was going on up there. But in Ottawa, I mean, I saw 50,000, 100,000. I actually spoke in Ottawa to the audience, to the crowd, and it was like the most uplifting experience that I've ever had. I mean, just seeing that many smiling faces, 50,000 people smiling at you. I mean, it was just incredible. So it really picked up my spirits. But now with this stuff going on, it seems like we're going backwards.
Well, I've said frequently throughout this whole thing that we're in the struggle phase of the hero's journey. It's kind of like Empire Strikes Back when Luke gets his hand cut off, and then after that, I mean, everybody regroups and there's Return of the Jedi and they blow up the second Death Star. So, I mean, we're in kind of like this phase right now where there's going to be struggle, I think. And I think the best thing that I could do is tell people to not lose hope, because this is the beginning of the end for all of this baloney that we've been put through in the past 2 years.
No, I think you're absolutely right. It's important that people don't lose hope. I mean, what we are seeing here is probably the majority of the country, in one way or another. Some are a little bit more vocal and go to protest, but there's a lot of people in the country right now that are just sick and tired of Justin Trudeau. And this is even, it's not even Canadians. The whole world is seeing Justin Trudeau for what he really is. He's an authoritarian. And some countries have actually called him out, but I don't think that certain countries like New Zealand or Australia are going to call him out on his tyranny.
No, I don't think so either. I know England, a lot of MPs in England have contacted their foreign relations minister, sending them letters to put pressure on them to tell Justin Trudeau to cease and stop. You made an excellent point there about other countries being sick of and tired of Trudeau telling them how to handle protests, like we'd seen in India in the farmers' revolt. I seen an India broadcast where this woman was basically straight up like, it's one thing for you to tell us how to do things, but you should really just mind your business and stay out of it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he tries to come across as the savior of the world, the savior of the planet, the most progressive leader that we actually see in the Western world. But I think, unfortunately, his brand of identity politics is now backfiring on him, because he has inflamed so many Canadians with his rhetoric that Canadians have just had enough. And I think the problem is too with his mandates and his lockdowns and all that other stuff. He's really putting people on the edge. So if a man has nothing to lose, then he becomes the most dangerous. And Trudeau has actually created this situation. So there's a lot of people out there in Ottawa right now that just have nothing else to lose. And what I'm even more worried about when this is all said and done, the protests and all that other stuff, if it does come to a peaceful ending, what I'm more worried about is the witch hunt that will ensue after this. Right? So
Yes.
is Justin Trudeau going to start coming after every single person that donated or supplied food or gasoline? Is he going to put them on terror lists and terror watches? Is he going to start confiscating people's properties? And he's already said he's confiscating or freezing people's bank accounts. So what we have is really, I think, is we really have like a third world dictatorship right now operating in Canada. And, and I think the mask of democracy is coming off at this point.
Yes, big time. Because that election we just saw, I mean, I would never say that outright that it was rigged, but how I do think it was rigged was through the buying out of the media, which has always been entirely one-sided, which is always Trudeau's side, and they always vilify people who aren't allowed to have other opinions, and we clearly see that here too. I mean, our little media gig here that we've set up, we've given way more balance to it than any of the legacy media, and thank God for organizations like True North and True North, Rebel, and Keenan Bexby, and all those other guys. Like, thank God we have that, because but even that is like, it's not widespread enough, I don't think.
Well, we know that the Canadian government owns or controls most of the media in Canada at this point. I mean, you just go to Post Media and just check the list of brands they have. I mean, it's pretty much every brand. So all they do is just copy and paste the news. And I think, and the news has become so biased in Canada right now that it's even hard to get the straight facts or the straight answer, right? Just take your vaccine and shut up.
Yeah.
So.
You know what? If we could have a slogan for the past year, it should be that.
Yeah, take your vaccine and just shut up. But what if, like, my neighbors next door actually, so his wife's father took the vaccine and he was dead a week later, and then the son took the vaccine and he was in the hospital for mitochondria, that the heart swelling condition there. So he was in emergency for a week.
Myocarditis, that is.
Myocarditis. So, as soon as I see that happening to your own neighbors, it's like, wait, I'm not playing ball here. So
100%, like 100%. It's that type of censorship that you're not allowed to even talk about those things that has created a boiling point for people. There's so many people like me, you, and Rick, who consistently think about or have seen these things in real life, and like, for them to not talk about it or to be transparent about it is what has created what we see here in Ottawa entirely.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just junk science, right? So, in my case, for example, I've never been vaccinated. I've never taken a vaccination. I have been amongst thousands of people. I have been to hundreds of protests. I have, hugged as many people as I can. Some of them even had COVID, apparently, and I haven't caught COVID.
Well, you know what? We should be careful about talking about this stuff because we are on YouTube.
Oh, right, yeah.
Right. So we need to be aware that this is a censored platform in that regard. What I would like to do, though, guys, is play this little video of the police response to the peaceful protesters on Parliament Hill. Pepper spray
is out. Hold her.
We stand on guard.
Hold my hand.
Ain't nobody else.
Second casualty on me. Ashley, hold my hand. Check sila ka kita dadat tips niya.
So just one of many videos out there today of the way police are handling this. Just yesterday, we had people in hot tubs, kids on bouncy castles, and people handing out free food to anyone that wanted it, including the homeless. So police came in and decided it was time to shut that down. Thoughts, gentlemen?
Heavy.
Yeah, I mean, Justin Trudeau takes the word male feminist to an entirely new level. He has no problem pepper spraying women or firing them if they don't agree with his ideology. We've seen this time and time again, right? Justin Trudeau likes to use people to hide behind. So if it serves his interest to hide behind women, then he'll hide behind women. If it serves his interest to hide behind of natives, he'll hide behind natives. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is. He just typically just uses people, and I think Canadians are starting to see that.
What are your thoughts, Mike, on the use of the Emergencies Act, which is really the rebranded War Measures Act?
I don't know. I get the funny feeling that Justin Trudeau knew his time was coming to an end. So my guess is that him and Freeland were working on this new Emergencies Act for a while, probably for a couple of years now, and they were just waiting for the right time to use it. Unfortunately, I don't think a protest against Justin Trudeau is, is something that they should be using for this emergency act for, right?
Right.
I mean, I have not seen any violence or anything of these protesters, nothing whatsoever. So it's to me, it's just a huge abuse of power, and and again, I mean, the whole world is going to see what Justin Trudeau really is.
And I hear the word dictator being thrown around a lot, just among people in general. And I've been hearing it from political commentators, especially on U.S. television networks.
Yeah, I mean, he basically has all the signs of a dictator, right? I mean, just take a look at it. I mean, he's trying to suppress the media. He's been trying to suppress the media ever since he took power. He basically controls the media. So most tyrants, use that control to basically push whatever agenda they have. It just, we could probably go on forever why he's a tyrant. But I truly believe he is, and I don't even think he cares. He doesn't care what happens to anybody at this point in Canada. So as long as he protects his position in his office.
Well,
Yeah.
He definitely seemed to care about the UN Security Council seat, which he did lose. But I guarantee you, after this, there isn't a international corporation that's going to touch him with a 10-foot pole. Maybe Klaus Schwab will let him be his mate or something like that. But I don't think he's going to have an international role to play in the world after this at all. Especially after what we had seen with that disgusting display right there. Like, that is so heavy.
It's not just that, but we saw veterans beaten down there today. Veterans, unarmed veterans, beaten by police officers.
Yeah, I don't even know how Justin Trudeau can actually show his face at this point, right? I mean, he literally, just attacks everybody. I mean, they've created so much polarization in this country, and this is one of the things that I noticed today, is that people that support him are using the same vitriol language, right? Catherine McKenna, same deal. GM Butts, all these people. I mean, these people have no diplomatic skills in my mind whatsoever. So I don't even believe they should be probably removed as soon as possible, so that this country can start to heal again. Because Canadians don't need this vitriol coming from their government. I mean, they're literally telling people who they should hate. So
yeah,
this has to end.
Oh my gosh, yes, big time. Like, I knew we were kind of screwed when I saw Gerald Butts on CBC, and he was invited to co-chair the election coverage back in October or back in September. I was like, this smells so bad. Remember, Rick? You remember that we're sitting in the place there, and Gerald Butts was on TV, and I was like, how the hell is that possible? He has been like illicit in scandal in Ontario and nationally and internationally. Like, how is that even allowed?
Yeah, I don't know, but obviously the PMO's office is just full of a bunch of criminals, right? GM Butts resigned because of the SNC Lavalin scandal, right? He actually resigned. So, I mean, even liberals are, I've heard of 3 or 4 liberals at this point that have walking away from the Liberal Party. They spoke out against Justin Trudeau, and of course, Justin Trudeau will punish them. That's what Justin Trudeau knows how to do, right? Attack and punish. So, we've got a major government problem here. I think the whole structure of the government has been kind of taken down piece by piece, death by 1,000 cuts, right? Like a law here, a bill there. They've weakened a lot of the protections that the Canadian government would have had to prevent these types of things from occurring. which is really sad. So, any new government for sure is going to have to do a complete review of every law and every bill that was passed, right? I mean, what's this ethics commission? What do they do? Nothing. It's the ethics commission is like your HR department at the corporation you work for. They're not there to protect you. They're there to protect Justin Trudeau.
That's a really good point.
So if he steals,
I mean, I think for some of the most corrupt scandals he's been a part of, like he's had to pay like fees of like $220 or something like that. Like that's a joke.
Yeah,
that's a big joke. Like, come on.
Yeah, well, they have no problem fining you tens of thousands of dollars for wrongthink, right? So this is kind of the world that we're living in. And I was trying, remember when Justin Trudeau called the election last time?
Yeah.
And I couldn't really think of a reason why he would do that. It didn't really make sense. He's talking about a pandemic and everybody's dying, blah blah blah, but he called an election in the middle of it, and it just that kind of made me start to think about of why he called an election. And then I started to realize the reason why he called an election was to simply, once he abuses his power, once he takes away your freedom, once he takes away your rights, once he destroys democracy, he can look back at his voters and say, well, you voted for this.
That's exactly what he did. He said, well, you voted on the last election was a mandate on the vaccine passports and these mandates. So people voted for it. So truckers, I don't have to listen to you. And you're a bunch of terrorists anyway.
He didn't mention it was never mentioned once during the election, except when Rick Walker made a commercial with it, and that was it. That was the only time I've seen anybody say referendum on vaccines and vaccine passports. Oh, everybody voted for it, and everybody got it, so ergo, I win.
And the way he ran the election too, he ran it on persecution, right?
Yeah.
He ran it on division and segregation. You know how he spoke about the unvaxxed and these evil monsters, and they really pushed their base to hate people, right? And this is where a lot of this vitriol is coming from. It's coming right from the government of Canada, and it's being promoted through the mainstream media.
Well, I think they were taking advantage of this sort of mass psychosis, this propaganda campaign that was used to just turn people's heads inside out. The use of doublespeak, like stand together by standing apart.
Yeah.
Things that people can't process in their minds. And then when you're saying that doesn't make sense, they say, well, you're crazy. And you don't want to, it's just all this psychological abuse. It's been psychological abuse. And the Liberals used psychographic polling and data to craft their messages. We know this to be true. And it's very dark and sinister, but extremely sophisticated.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But I don't think Justin Trudeau counted on this many people standing up and saying no to him. I think this kind of threw him for a bit of a loop, including the international support, which he's trying to, it's funny, when globalism suits Justin Trudeau, he's all for it. But when it works against him, now everybody supporting the truckers are terrorists, right?
And you know what I find really surprising and inspiring here tonight is that this whole police action began midday. And here we are into the night. And in the face of mounting government threats, of confiscation of property, freezing of bank accounts, people being told, go home or you'll be arrested. The literally thousands of police officers in riot gear, now on horses coming into the area. In spite of all of that, we've seen actually more people come into the Parliament Hill area tonight, even with over 100 roadblocks set up by police to restrict access to the area. People have responded to a call from the organizers asking them to come down to support them, and people have answered that call tonight, and they're still there. When I think what police were thinking was that I think they sort of expected the crowd to disperse and run away scared after they arrested the main organizers and then went in there in big numbers to sort of overwhelm the people who were there, and they haven't left. It's like there's this incredible conviction and determination to stay there and hold the line. And I'm amazed that this thing is still going on tonight in the face of all that government coercion and force. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I think what we're seeing here is kind of a Canada is like, in this sense, is back. I mean, Canadians are coming closer together. They're patriotic, they're friendly, they're sharing their ideas, and I think a lot of Canadians. I mean, this is what I'm surprised Trudeau didn't actually get behind this.
Yeah.
Right. Instead of burying himself by persecuting all these peaceful Canadians who just want to be left alone, basically.
Yep.
Leave us alone, stop telling us what to put in our body, and just, it's pretty much about the mandate. So,
Yeah.
I think it's incredible. And I think to see this many people standing up to their government is really cool. Now, I don't know about the police. My feeling generally about the police and what's going on is I would say there's at least half of them that don't want to be there.
The only difference with this, I think, though, is I think that the police that are there from other police services, most of those guys would have been asked, do you want to go and get your overtime and participate in this thing? And a large portion of them, I think, would have been given an option. And I think if they didn't want to go because they weren't comfortable with it, that would be an easy out for those guys. So I think a higher percentage of the cops on the ground here tonight are probably okay with it. But I did hear from Carla, our intrepid reporter who is on the scene in Ottawa today. She did say that there was at least one officer who broke rank and decided to support the protesters, at which point his fellow officers immediately arrested him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And I know when I went down to Windsor, we set up a convoy. We had, maybe 100 vehicles, probably more because other people started joining in on the way to Windsor. But we were also followed by the OPP, and we pulled off on the en route. They explained that we were all going to be arrested and we were all going to jail if we go to Windsor and blah, 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 blah. So they brought up a couple of paddy wagons, and somebody even said they had a police bus, like a prison bus, behind us. So we took a vote, and everybody said, we're going. So I said, we're going. So I told the OPP, we're going. They had said, okay, can you meet us at the Walmart there and with your convoy, and then to keep you safe? And I kind of laughed. I kind of laughed and said, yeah, we'll meet you at the back of Walmart there. And then we just all split off on Dougal Road, I think, and we just we just went on our own way, just to prevent that from happening. But I've seen the level of intimidation that they're using now. And when you even ask the cop, what are you going to arrest me for? They have no idea. They're not even sure.
And that's dangerous when the police when the police or public health make those empty type of threats. Oh, well, we'll charge you. Oh, what are you going to charge me with? So you don't even know, you're just threatening me?
Yeah, exactly. But nobody was charged, nobody was arrested, nothing happened. So I think a lot of it is intimidation.
I have something lined up, Rick. I think it's worthy of sharing here. I did see it this afternoon.
Okay. What are we looking at here?
All right. So, well, I'm not sure what this vehicle is here. It's very distorted.
That's the armored vehicle, and that's I think the word is that's the vehicle with the LRAD, the a long-range audio acoustic device, which they use to bombard protesters with high-intensity, high-frequency sonic waves, which can cause long-term permanent hearing damage, brain trauma, internal organ damage, and other long-term health problems. So its use is controversial, even though they say it's safe.
Yeah, it's all safe.
For the officers using it, I think maybe, but maybe not so much the person that you pointed at.
No.
Yeah. So I hope you haven't played this yet today already.
No, I haven't. No.
Okay. It's really worth seeing, so I'm going to play it now.
Yeah, ils sont là, à côté dans le fenêtre. Ils sont les deux bords. Pas de trouble. Oui, oui. Oui, oui. Non, mais je vais te montrer, là. Je vais te montrer qu'est-ce qui se passe. J'essaie de m'inverser. Il y en a partout autour de nous. Mais ils n'ont pas arrêté.
Got a chance to get out now or just drag you out?
Okay.
Get out of the car.
Do not touch that. Turn your vehicle off. Do it now. Turn your vehicle off. Do it now.
The car, you're under arrest.
Unlock the door. Do it now.
It's too late. Too late. Too late.
Touch the vehicle, please. Under arrest. You just run the vehicle. Let's take over to the arrest team. Stand right here, sir.
That's fun. Relax. Yeah. Stand by. There. Bring your on hand. Let go. Let go.
Just let go of your hands here.
So I'm pretty sure what they did there was illegal. They were blocking that armored vehicle thing.
Except that with the War Measures Act in place, I think they can do pretty much anything they want.
No, the individuals in the vehicle.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The cops can do anything they want to anybody, I think, pretty much at this point down there.
Yeah, it's pretty sad. It's pretty shameful, actually, that this is happening in Canada.
Yep, never thought I'd see the day.
Yeah, neither did I, actually. When I joined the military, I never thought that the greatest threat to this country would be my own government. So
that being said, Mike, it's my view, and please share your view after I give you this perspective. If the implementation of this rebranded War Measures Act, which is supposed to be reserved for the most serious of circumstances, for instance, when we go to war, when there's a foreign army invading the country, and the existence of the country itself is in danger, and Canadians' lives are in danger. So by implementing this and giving himself these powers, which are almost without limit, honestly, I'm afraid that this will not be as limited in scope or in time as he has led people to believe. I've heard the analysis from government-paid talking heads on CBC trying to put people's minds at ease, saying, oh, it's no big deal. It should have been done a long time ago to take care of these pesky protesters. In reality, this is the most serious of situations. This gives Justin Trudeau massive powers, and I don't think he's going to give it up. I don't think that after this protest is over with, that he'll just say, "Oh, okay, it's over, so no need to use it anymore." My guess is he'll try to hold on to it for a while longer. And I think that's very, very dangerous, because he'll just say, well, yeah, that protest is taken care of, but we still have a bunch of these fascists running around out there, and we have intelligence that there's still a big threat, so we're going to have to leave it in place, and there's still more work to be done. And then the witch hunt begins, right? Then it's like going after people's bank accounts, seizing assets, doxing people, dragging people out of their homes, doing whatever he's got to do or whatever he's got planned. I just can't see him giving it up immediately. Not after this.
Yeah, Trudeau, he already had a medical dictatorship before this even started. Now he's given himself these emergency powers, and I can pretty much say he's not going to give them up easily. He's going to find more reasons to keep them, is basically what's going to happen, right? So if he can paint people as terrorists or Nazis or fascists, which I find kind of ironic considering the deputy prime minister's grandfather was an actual Nazi. He must be getting advice from her, I would think, on how to promote fascism. What it does, to me, it actually seems like a rewind of what was happening in the 30s in Germany. That's what I see. I mean, there's a familiarity about it. You know what I mean? Like an air of what he's doing. So then he's going to move into the media, censorship. He's going to ban people from speaking about it on Twitter. He even might make it a crime. Who knows with Justin Trudeau? I mean, this is all about him now. This has nothing to do with Canada. It has nothing to do with Canadians. This is all about Justin Trudeau right now.
It has nothing to do with public health.
It has nothing to do with public health.
Interesting you should mention that. I did a little bit of digging on Miss Freeland's past, and I did discover that she did go to school, and she participated in like an exchange program where she essentially went to school in the USSR, and she was banned by the KGB from coming back into the country and that sort of thing. So she knows full well what she's doing and the effects of it and the effects of this tyranny. She understands it on a way better level than any three of us will ever know.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, she stands with probably one of the most corrupt countries in the world, Ukraine, right? So, I mean, let's take a look at Ukraine. They've pretty much banned all the other parties there. They arrested the opposition. There's one party in Ukraine, the Justin Trudeau party. There's just something really weird about this. And I don't think that he's going to be able to use Russia as a distraction, because I think Russia has basically decided just to bail out. So I don't know what kind of distraction he's going to have next, but he will create one. It's just a matter of time.
So what are we looking at here with this map, Brendan?
I was just going to point out downtown Ottawa looks way more closed now than it ever did by the protests.
Absolutely. Very good point.
Yeah, when I was in Windsor, for example, I mean, the only people that were blocking the bridge were law enforcement.
Yeah.
The protesters actually had one lane open for trucks to get through, but I guess the police blocked it all off and then blamed them.
Well, we've checked this map out periodically quite often throughout the past 3 weeks, and all of this was never all closed off. This was usually pretty closed off, but all this stuff over here and over here, like that's all new, and that's all this here. Clearly the police have closed everything down.
Well, they actually released a map from the municipality and the police service. Yeah. And it's a controlled zone now. So there is restricted access into the entire area surrounding Parliament Hill as of last night. And that's what I was saying earlier. They have over 100 roadblocks set up. 100. Residents have been complaining, apparently, which I think is manufactured complaints, honestly, from organized political operatives who are opposed to the truckers and are pro-liberal, pro-Justin Trudeau. So I think they had a calling campaign going on into the police to justify and prompt a severe police response, but that's another story. But the point is, the cops have set up 100 roadblocks. It is not traffic being snarled by the truckers at this point. And it's been the cops closing bridges and setting up other traffic stops around town that have actually caused the majority of the traffic problems in and around Ottawa.
You know, what's interesting is, Canadians are typically very passive, peaceful, friendly people who don't typically like to rock the boat, and typically just try to, go along to get along. For someone like Justin Trudeau to create this much havoc in Canada amongst Canadians is just absolutely incredible. I have never seen such a failure of government before in my entire life, and hopefully I never see this again.
You see, Mario says unions were calling people to complain against the convoy, which just goes to show you a lot of those calls, they said they had over 200 complaints to police. Well, there you go. It was a choreographed, orchestrated calling campaign in part, right? I'm sure they received some phone calls that were legitimate from residents in the downtown area, but I knew I could smell a rat.
And we already know QP, the Public Service Union, is in bed with a bunch of communists, and they basically were marching downtown Ottawa with a commie flag and QP flags. Like, we're on to the game. Like, the amount of organization that they would have had to pull that anti-protest off would have been phenomenal. At least 5 to 10 people at the top organizing all these people together.
How many people were at the anti-protest protest? It was like 100, 200?
Probably about that, yeah.
Yeah. There was like 5 or 6 QP flags and a commie
And you know
flag.
what, man? Like, whenever I working as a reporter for over 25 years, lots of protests, right? Those things, it's always the same people. I used to call them professional protesters. And that because they'd roll out the same people, quite often even the exact same protest signs, and they'd throw them all in the back of their vehicle, and then they'd save them for the next one, and then they'd all show up and it's same damn signs, same people, and they'd even truck people in, and it was always the people on the left side of the political spectrum who would do this. That's what they did. They were never in power before. It's mostly New Democrat far lefties, right? And they'd go to all the protests, every labor dispute, everything that was NDP organized. They just go to them all.
Yeah. So I guess there's a vigil tonight at 7 p.m. in Victoria Park for the truckers. So I was just got an email about that. I don't know if I can make it over there.
So that's Victoria Park in London, Ontario. We have people all over the world.
Yeah, Victoria Park in London. So I guess it's going to be like a candlelit vigil or whatever, quiet thing for the truckers. But Justin Trudeau has really made it clear that he doesn't like certain Canadians. I mean, we're not talking about a prime minister who takes a neutral stand in situations. He's made his bed, and he says that I don't like more than half of the country.
Yes.
And I don't understand how somebody like that could be in a position of power that he has. Someone that constantly basically labels people as just these vile names with these vile names. It's just he's really to bring this country closer together, he's going to need to step down, or we're going to have to figure out a way to get him out of there. Because I don't think Justin Trudeau is going to leave, and even kicking and screaming. This is his country now.
I think you're exactly right, and the way his divisive rhetoric, his hate-filled language, the way he has tried to dehumanize people who are not vaccinated, the way he labeled all of these truckers and then the farmers as a bunch of racist, Nazi, fascist, you name it. The smear campaign that came from him, it's so un-Canadian. I don't know how that guy is even still there. I don't know why people are willing to put up with it. It's disgusting.
Yeah, well, I mean, we are seeing the opposition to a certain degree standing up to him now, but it's kind of like too little too late, right?
Yes.
I mean, Justin Trudeau and his cronies have been not just labeling people, but he's been persecuting.
Oh, and see that guy with the dog? I guess
Yeah.
they're threatening to confiscate dogs and euthanize them.
Yeah, I read that, in the Ottawa newspaper, Just disgusting. To a lot of people, their dog is like is part of their family, right?
Yeah.
I haven't heard them make announcements in a while, so whether
This is
those people
Carla
came down
Olson,
here or
our
not,
very fine lady in the street.
She's our eyes and ears on the ground there. She's our reporter on the scene. She's
Perfect.
been doing an amazing job sending
and
us
there's
live
probably
video,
people right in the
recorded
crowd
video.
live streaming. I'm standing on the outside,
So
not because I'm afraid, but because I'm with Big Law and he won't let
But-
me go in.
But Justin Trudeau also basically persecuted people in ways I never even thought a government could, like the Canadian government, maybe a fascist government, yes, but persecuting people, put this in your body or lose your job. You know, how many people have lost their jobs because of these mandates that are perfectly healthy and are now struggling, could be on the street. I mean, Justin Trudeau has made it very clear that he is going to punish his enemies.
Yeah, Mike, I was saying earlier, and I think that even it's
Yeah, so far they're just pushing from one way.
the use of the Emergencies Act, going after bank accounts, even sending these cops in this big way, choosing to do it midday on a Friday when the crowd was actually up, instead of at a point when you had fewer people there, like maybe in the middle of the night, when you really had, they could have come in here in the middle of the night and honestly had a few hundred people to round up and been done with it. But they chose to wait until midday Friday when they knew more people were coming into the area. Why? I don't know. But my guess is it's to send a message. Don't ever try this again. Don't even think about it. And if you do, we'll crush you. We'll come in, look at what we're doing to these stupid, lowbrow, redneck, hayseed hicks. We're rounding them all up. They're all going to jail. And they're making an example out of these people. That's what's going on. And we're going to go after their bank accounts, seize their trucks, and euthanize their damn dogs and take their kids away from them because they don't deserve to be parents. They're using them as human shields.
I wouldn't be surprised if Justin Trudeau wanted to start euthanizing people for their political beliefs. It sounds pretty far-fetched, but when I look at some of the euthanization programs in Canada, I mean, how many people has Trudeau put under in the name of health? 30,000?
Well, think about this. It's like, so you take, don't think you could sit on a plane or a train next to somebody who's unvaccinated. That's dangerous. So you could also spin it. Don't think that you could breathe the same air that I breathe. Like, that's dangerous. Off with your head. Go into the chair. Now, I wanted to ask you this one question, Mike. So I've been blessed to kind of see the Convoy situation change people's minds in a way I had never seen before. Have you seen any of that personally?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when I was in Ottawa and Windsor, I mean, I have not been around such a happy, peaceful, more delighted crowd in my life. I mean, people I have never met before from all over the country. I mean, grown men, 6'5", hugging me in tears. It's absolutely incredible, and I think that this is the way Canadians actually are, friendly and peaceful people who just want to get along. Sorry. Yeah, just peaceful people that just want to get along. They don't want to cause any trouble. They don't want violence. They just want to get their lives back. That's all. They're not asking the government for anything. In fact, most Canadians don't want the government in their lives at all, in any way. They don't want to live by the dictates of Justin Trudeau.
Yeah, there is a comment there too about Biden supporting this.
Was just going to check his Twitter.
Yeah, what do you think of that? Like, it's just like the COVID mandates themselves. There is a clear political line that is drawn, and people are either on this side or that side.
Yeah, I think we've got 5 countries that are all in on this together, from what I can tell. So that would be the United States under Joe Biden. I mean, I don't even know how that guy got elected. I mean, I don't even think he can remember his name half the time. But that's beside the point. We've got Australia. We've seen the crackdown, what they're doing on Australia. These are all Western democracies. Look at New Zealand, right? And then the UK dropped all the mandates right after Boris Johnson got involved in a scandal. See, there's the real science, right? All the mandates were dropped as soon as Boris Johnson got involved in a scandal, like a week later. So I just think these Western democracies, and all these 5 countries are actually part of an organization called the Five Eyes Organization. And it's one of these super national spying rings that do not report to the governments themselves. So this group, this Five Eyes group, have all been, in my opinion anyways, have all been in on this. And I think they're all sitting back and watching Justin Trudeau right now, wondering if they can get away with the same thing in their respective countries. I think in the United States, they have an extra layer of protection that prevents their government from doing this kind of thing in the Senate. And we don't have that extra layer of protection in Canada, right? I mean, basically every layer of protection that we had from stopping our government from destroying our country and infiltrating our system has been pretty much annihilated. So that's where we're at in Canada. And, the only way to fix it is probably a complete review of everything that has gone down over the past 6 to 10 years.
I think you're absolutely right. I did think about that before. Like, all these laws that have been pushed through by the Liberals should be audited to see if there's any weight. We have buried ourselves with red tape in this country to a degree that is absolutely disgusting. And how any liberals think adding more government to any situation is going to fix it. Like,
well, the bureaucracy itself that Justin Trudeau has created around himself is actually a protection mechanism, right?
Yeah.
So it blocks Canadians from getting access to their government because there's just so much red tape that, most people give up.
It's very easy to be discouraged. It's very easy to be discouraged by that red tape as well.
Yeah.
And that's what he uses as his tool to the media. Oh, if you don't behave and if you don't do what I say, then you'll lose access to me and then you'll lose your work and blah, blah, blah. Because it doesn't really matter what he says, because the news is going to pick it up anyway and run with it.
Yeah, I was surprised that he pulled the same thing as Pierre did back in the 70s? He didn't last very much longer after that, did he?
After the October crisis?
Yeah.
It's almost prophetic if you think about it.
Yeah.
So it seems like in Ottawa right now, things have calmed down a bit, quite a bit. It's like as I'm looking through all the various feeds that we have coming in, I don't see nearly as many police there in riot gear. It's like they've backed right off, and now we have a sizable crowd of just ordinary, regular people again milling about. I don't know. I can't tell if many or any vehicles have been towed. Maybe, Brendan, we can check.
Somebody's getting arrested. Somebody's getting arrested on your feed.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Let's back it up a little bit.
So yeah, this was just recently recorded by Carla on the scene, right?
Yeah.
So This is very fresh. It isn't live, but this footage is fresh.
No, this footage is live.
This is live? Oh,
Yes.
okay. You just backed it up because it's in the cache. Okay.
Yeah, I just backed it up because I didn't see I didn't catch what happened there, and I'm sorry if anybody else was paying attention there, but what happens? Okay, so there it is. There it is. See the cop? He's talking to the person. Yeah, any second now.
How much time do I have for the main thing? Okay, it's 45 seconds. Okay.
Well, we've seen.
Fox
Yeah,
News
I mean.
in front of us. It's Fox News right there.
No, I still can't get over how
Maybe it's not Fox.
legacy media goes in there and everybody treats them like garbage, and then Fox News shows up and they're like celebrities.
I know it is kind of bizarre. I mean, it seems like the world has flipped from what it was 10 years ago.
Yeah, because there was a time where the CRTC denied Fox News entirely. Like they said, no, you're not allowed in our country. Go.
It's okay. Want to watch?
Who is it? The guy in the green jacket that's getting it?
I think so. He might be. Something happened. Oh. What?
Was it looked like one of the protesters pushed him?
Yeah, it looks like one of the protesters pushed the guy in the green jacket, and they're just like, off you go.
Oh, he's got a mask on.
Oh, that tells it all. Well, I called it with what happened in Winnipeg there with the guy running over the car. It's like, just you wait, he's going to be like some alt-left Antifa guy, somebody driving alone in a Jeep with a mask on. And Rick was like, don't speculate on that. And I was like, well, I'm...
The guy who was just arrested, or who was just grabbed by the police,
Turn up the audio, Brendan.
went up to a protester, pushed the protester by the looks of it, and then when the police picked him up, he was saying, I'm not with them, I'm not with them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's
An agitator.
yeah, an agitator. I mean, when I was in Ottawa, I mean, I walked around for 10, 20 miles downtown, and I mean, I didn't see everybody supported the protest, pretty much everybody. I mean, didn't see anybody who was angry when I was there.
You know, neither have we. I mean, except for very minor few.
Yeah, except for the very, very violent liberals.
Exactly.
Because they are fairly violent, and it's one thing I found with the liberals. They're extremely violent, and they will do anything,
So
whatever they
just a
can
little bit
to
of
hurt
peacekeeping,
you.
I
Or
think. I don't know what happened. What I know is that two people got into some kind of a scuffle. The police grabbed the one guy, and as they pulled the guy over, he said, he was saying to the police, I'm not with these people, I'm not with them. So, I don't know.
Just a moment, I gotta check on something. Sorry, gents.
Sure.
it always makes you wonder
Fox News probably
what
did
actually happened to liberalism, right?
And
Do you remember when
that's the camera
being
crew that
liberal
there.
was
So they were right beside
meant
me,
less
so I'm sure they
government,
got it.
more freedom?
Yep.
They have bastardized the word liberal so badly that I'm not even sure what it means anymore.
So it took that whole line of police officers that were standing here, with the exception of maybe two, out.
Well, it's good to see things are settling down over there. I'm not sure where what intersection this is at.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. We don't have a feed back to Carla. This is just live footage she's sending direct, but she doesn't have audio from us.
And do you remember when they were in Parliament bashing people for destroying the war memorial?
Oh, yes.
I mean, I was there, and I saw a couple of punks dancing on it, right? But I was
I
like,
have to walk around.
you know, what can you do? But immediately after that, you know, a bunch of veterans came over and they cleaned up the whole mess and put everything back to place. But they never took that. They took the first incident and blew it up into something that it really wasn't.
Yes.
So, which is a real shame.
And as I said, the government then proceeded to misappropriate that monument for their political purposes by putting a fence around it. And the veterans who have been down there took offense to that. And so they took it upon themselves to take the fence down and stack it so that it could be taken away. And police tried to stop them, but then the crowd came to the defense of the veterans. And in my view, what those veterans were doing is by taking that fence down, they were taking it back. It was like the government had captured it. And the veterans took it back for the people and for themselves because it's theirs. And after doing that, they took care of it. They've been taking care of it. They've been guarding it. In 2 hour, they take 2-hour shifts each around the clock, and they've been guarding it ever since during this entire episode.
And it was the same what they tried to do with the Terry Fox monument too, right? Somebody draped a Canadian flag over them, and they were like just appalled. I can guarantee, if Terry Fox was alive today, he would be joining this movement as well.
I think you're right. And I think the truly bizarre thing, and what people don't realize, is the Justin Trudeau and his supporters, they view the Canadian flag as something that is racist because they view our country as being a racist country, something to be ashamed of. Our history is something to be ashamed of. And that's why he was willing to fly the Canadian and ordered the Canadian flag to be flown at half staff for months to remind every Canadian that to be Canadian is something to be ashamed of because he doesn't believe in Canada as a nation. He wants it torn down to be rebuilt into something strange and bizarre, something like a fascistic communist type society. And it's distasteful and disturbing to me. And that's why I don't think people understand that it's just like in the United States too. It's not just the Confederate flag. The people who are opposed to the Confederate flag, many of them, I think you'll find, are opposed to the American flag because they see the whole country as being systemically racist.
And I just think from a government standpoint, to create this global world view that Canadians are racist, are homophobes, are, all these nasty names, Nazis, to actually to go on the world stage and accuse Canadians of being racist, how does that help Canada? Right? How does that help us on the global stage? I mean, who's going to even want to come here if they think that we're all these terrible, evil people, Canadians, right?
Right.
I mean, I think the government needs to do a better job of promoting Canadians instead of telling the world that we're all a bunch of Nazis and racists. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, I'm not. After this all said and done, I bet you investment is going to be fleeing this country left, right, and center. Businesses are going to be thinking twice before they open their doors here in Canada. So I think there's going to be a backlash.
Yeah, I agree. The way that they're going after the bank accounts, trying to seize assets, they are seizing assets. It undermines over a century and a half of public and international confidence in our banking system.
Yeah, I'll probably never trust the banks in Canada again after this. I'm going to have a real hard time trusting the banks in Canada, and I can guarantee a lot of big investors are going to be thinking the same thing. They're probably pulling their money right now and moving it back to the United States.
Well, I've heard commentators on the financial channels and in the political front, especially in the United States, advising people in Americans who have money invested in Canadian banks to get their money out
Yeah.
because they see that this is the same as what we've seen in other communist countries and countries run by dictators, where entire industries are nationalized, companies taken over by the government and nationalized and just confiscated, right? Or we're taking your company, we're taking your assets, we're taking all the money out of your account. It's ours now. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, and they don't care about what happens to you, right? They don't care about if you have a family and a house and a mortgage, or any of these other things. They don't care.
You made a really good point there, Mike, about people aren't going to want to come to the country. I've seen Twitter just blasted full of people saying, "Well, I had a skiing trip booked for this date, but I sure as hell am not going to Canada now."
Yeah, I mean, and there's a lot of people in Canada that I've talked to who are trying to figure out how to get out of Canada. They've given up. A lot of these people that have come from like Eastern Bloc countries or communist countries like China or whatever, they are basically packing their bags and they're taking off. Some have said they're going to Mexico, some down to the States, maybe to Florida or Texas. I just think a lot of people that came here looking for freedom basically were sold a bill of goods.
I know about 6 people or more personally who have 6 people or more personally who have left the country and have gone to those very places, or even Costa Rica, even just they.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, Canadians are definitely running out of options here, so they're going to be looking for ways to liquidate their assets and get the hell out of here. And this could actually set off a mortgage bust. Like, if people start selling off all their properties and stuff to get the hell out of Canada or the province or whatever it may be. You're going to see a lot of inventory hitting the market all of a sudden, right? Which is going to cause the housing market to start dying.
That's just it. Canada is a few interest rate points away, or percentage points away from utter disaster. It's going to be just like Germany after World War I. People will have to take a wheelbarrow full of money to buy bread or food at the grocery store and that sort of thing.
And that's one of the things that drove Hitler to power back in Nazi Germany. I mean, I think the Nazi Party was just some sort of fringe party back those days, and nobody really cared. It was a liberal democracy, same kind of democracy we have here in Canada, and then the stock market crashed. Right, people started calling in their debts, and people were, spending, $5 million whatever to get a potato or a loaf of bread, and that's what really put him into power. So with Trudeau printing all this money, and it's almost like it's just bizarre. I mean, you can see the consequences. Printing all this money, inflation. We've already seen interest rates actually go up already. Now, from the guy that I'm talking to at the bank says the interest rates are going to go up 3 times this year. Now, I don't know how much by, but we have seen interest rates go up already in February.
We are in an abysmal state here, and it's almost just exactly the Great Reset that Justin Trudeau wants. And I just seen a video from Jason Kenney, the Premier of Alberta. So for anybody who's out in the States there, that would be just like our governor for the province of Alberta. And people ask him the question.
Can we listen to Carla? Do you hear what she has to say? Oh, hang on a sec.
For quite a while, and my battery is now almost gone. So to preserve the battery, I am going to turn it off in case something comes up that's like bigger. Because right now it just appears like there's a standoff. I think what's happening is the police are gaining reinforcements at the back. They're trying to outnumber us. They're beginning to outnumber us. It's going to work out, I think, a lot like it did at the Ambassador Bridge, and the remaining people will be arrested. I think they're trying to corral us.
I think the charging keeps it warm.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what's happening. Just a standoff. There's a gentleman trying to talk to the police. Trying to pull at their heartstrings. So what I'm going to ask from every one of you is just pray that there is a miracle, that these police stand down, that something happens that way. But for now, I do need to save the battery. Some of you have been commenting on here about other people that are doing lives. So if you want to continue watching live until I turn back on, feel free. Jump on a live. There's probably lots of them out there. For me, I'm just going to stand here and see what's going on. I'll come on when I can, and I just want to save this battery because I can't seem to charge it out here. It's so cold. All right, thank you. No matter what, remember the ground that we did gain here. We unified. We learned that we weren't alone. We know we're not a small, a fringe minority. You saw for yourself that we are not terrorists. You saw the love. You saw the unity. You saw people being proud to be Canadian again. So with that, be kind. Be Canadian. Thank you so much for following and watching.
Yeah, and to put that into context, it is pretty cold up in Ottawa. I mean, it is freezing cold. My cell phone would always have a thermometer on it. That's how cold it was. So you would look at the cell phone, there's a picture of a thermometer on it. So I had to, warm it up in my pocket for 20 minutes just to get my cell phone to work. So that's how cold it is, and that's, what the people are withering this cold. It is cold. Like, I mean, I still can't even feel my fingertips. I was in Ottawa. So
I just checked the temperature there. It is negative 13 currently, and it's expecting to drop to negative 18. And this is how fed up government regulations and government overreach has done to Canadians. Like, Canadians don't just hang outside standing around in the cold for fun. Like, that's not what we do.
No.
I mean, we do like to do outside stuff in the wintertime, but it's like Carla has been there for 3 weeks straight, freezing her buns off.
Yeah, and if you want to support Carla, we are incurring some expenses to keep her reporting up there. You can donate at freedomreporters.com. There's also a hot link to the donation page on the YouTube channel and the Facebook pages. So also don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell for notifications. It would really help us grow the channel because we are here fighting the battle on the information battle on that front. So, and Carla is literally out there on the front lines and taking the risks, being out there with other independent journalists, some of whom were arrested today. We did show you video earlier in the day of some live streamers, bloggers, vloggers being arrested. And that's also a response from Justin Trudeau and his attempt to shut people up who might in some way be critical of his policies.
Now, gentlemen, I do have lined up here. So, Rick, you begged the question earlier, have vehicles been towed today? I did hear a number of vehicles have been towed today. I do have the footage for the police press conference that was issued by the interim chief up and running. If that hasn't been played yet, we can play that now.
Yep.
Uno momento.
Are you going to bring that up on your end there?
Yeah,
I've got these live feeds back up here for our viewers.
I got it ready to go.
And we can flip over to yours for a few moments.
Yeah.
We'll be back to the live feeds. It's just a standoff right now, so this is a good time to bring this up.
Okay.
So this is news conference with Ottawa Police Service.
Good afternoon, everybody. Bonjour à tous. Thank you for joining us for this media availability with Interim Chief Bell. Joining us are Deputy Commissioner Chris Harkins from the OPP and RCMP Deputy Commissioner Mike Zuim, Federal Policing. Merci de vous joindre à nous pour le point de presse du chef par intérim Steve Bell, le commissaire adjoint Chris Harkins de la PPO et le sous-commissaire Mike Duhem de la GRC, police fédérale, sont également présents. My name is Constable Param Singh, and I will be the moderator. We will begin with remarks from Interim Chief Bell, and then we will proceed to a 10 to 15-minute question period. Je suis l'agent Param Singh et le modérateur pour la période de questions de 15 à 20 minutes. Nous commençons d'abord par l'énoncé du chef par intérim Steve Bell.
Thank you, Param. Thank you. Bonjour à tous. We're here to provide you today with an update on our operations to end the unlawful protests that have done so much damage to our community and so much harm to our residents. The operational plan is moving ahead as we expected, and the contingencies we put in place are effectively dealing with the threats we're seeing on the ground. I thank the Ottawa residents for their patience and support as they watch this operation unfold. I also thank all the planners, officers, and emergency personnel, many of whom have come from across the country to assist us. I'm proud to work with all of them. Their assistance has been vital to the success we are seeing so far in this operation. We're in control of the situation on the ground and continue to push forward to clear our streets. This methodical and well-resourced plan will take time, and we are here to see it through to a safe ending. Last night, we began to take additional actions towards implementing our operation. We moved officers and equipment into key positions throughout the city and took up 100 checkpoints around the downtown core. We began making arrests of key individuals who were responsible for organizing these unlawful activities. This morning, public order units and a significant number of officers were deployed to support our operations. We first focused on the Nicholas Street area, where unlawful protests were gathered with trucks. Even this morning, all unlawful protesters were given many opportunities to leave. Officers then turned to the intersection of Rideau and Sussex, making more arrests and clearing that location. As of 3 p.m. today, we've arrested 70 people. They have been charged with multiple various offences, including mischief. Work is underway by the City of Ottawa to remediate and clean up the area that we have gained back today. We also saw children that were present in the area. We've prepared for this and have plans to ensure that these children are unharmed during our operation. Before I take questions, I want to acknowledge that these are not the images that Ottawa residents want to see. Ottawa is a welcoming and diverse city. It's a city we're all proud of. We regularly host lawful and peaceful protests. This is Family Day weekend, and usually our downtown is filled with people enjoying the city, our market, and the canal. We're focused on returning our city to the place that we all know and love. We will run this operation 24 hours a day until the residents and community have their entire city back. Thank you, and I'm happy to take any questions.
That was a slip.
Thank you. Joanne Canello, CBC News. Hi, Chief Bell. You know, I was out at Mackenzie Avenue and Rideau, and many officers of many units are out there holding the line there, sort of pushing the folks westbound, I guess, on Wellington. It's getting to be late in the afternoon, and I'm just wondering, as much as you can you tell us what the plan is now? When I was there anyway, for about an hour, everyone was sort of just standing still, more or less. Obviously, people would like to know how long this would take. I don't know if you can say that, but maybe if you can say about what might happen overnight and what the next steps are. Thank you.
So we articulated from the very beginning, we have a very deliberate and methodical plan that's been extremely well resourced. I want to thank Commissioner Carrick, Commissioner Lucky, every police chief across Canada, every police chief in Ontario who have dedicated resource to help us staff the plan and see all the officers that you're seeing today. We, from the beginning, have indicated that we would need to move slowly, safely, respecting charter rights as we look to demobilize this demonstration. We will continue to do that, and we will work day and night until this is completed.
And just as a follow-up, maybe you could talk a little bit about the kind of resistance you're seeing. Is it mostly peaceful? Is it, obviously you've arrested 70 people, so perhaps not, but perhaps you could describe what it's been like for officers out there and what they're finding as they meet the protesters.
So the officers out there, I know everyone's seen many images through the day, have been nothing short of exceptionally professional all day. We have a plan. We articulated that plan to them, and they have executed it extremely well throughout the day. The level of professionalism that they're seeing in the face of taunts, slurs towards them is challenging, but we're seeing their ongoing professionalism every minute of every day. We will continue to do that. Our officers will continue to work exceptionally hard to make sure that we use the least amount of force needed to actually peacefully end this protest and move everyone out of our streets.
Hi, Chief Bell. John Mullen with the Citizen. Have officers had to help Children's Aid remove any children from families at this point?
So we spoke yesterday about the fact we did have plans and we're working continually with Children's Aid around safety and security of children in the crowds. We developed those plans hoping that we weren't going to have to use them. I can tell you to this point, we have had no need to interact with Children's Aid as it relates to children within the crowd. What I will tell you is that even through all the planning, it still shocks and surprises me that we are seeing children put in harm's way in the middle of a demonstration where a police operation is unfolding. We will continue to look after their safety and security, but we implore all the parents who have kids in there, get the kids out of there. They do not need to be in the middle of this. It is not a safe place for them.
Chief, what we see downtown right now, do you expect this to be the posture going right through the long weekend?
As I indicated, we've started this operation. We talked about our increasing plans yesterday in terms of securing the downtown core. We have a plan. It's well resourced, and we will continue to execute on that plan until everyone is gone from our streets and the residents that own those streets get them back.
Mari Wolf from the Canadian Press. We've seen forces from Quebec, from Durham, down there on the front line.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Thank you.
Mari Wolf from the Canadian Press. There are police officers from Quebec, Durham, various forces down there on the front line. Can you give us an idea of how many police officers are being mobilized in this operation?
So we won't be disclosing any of our operational numbers, but I'll again point back to the level of cooperation and partnership we've had with every police service, every law enforcement agency across Canada, unparalleled and absolutely amazing. I'm very proud of how our community, of how our police agencies and how all other support services have come together to mobilize to end this unlawful demonstration.
And I noticed that some of the police from Quebec have tear gas. Are you prepared to use tear gas, and is that a last resort?
So we've developed a well-articulated plan. We continue to work with the protesters, the demonstrators, to encourage them to leave the area. We have a very well-scripted warning that's provided to them, and up in every moment that they can leave, they are afforded the opportunity to leave. We have well-developed plans that will ensure ultimate removal of those protesters from our streets.
Hi there, Chris Nachkate, CTV National News. My first question is, did police use any of the powers conferred under the Emergencies Act to make any arrests today, or did you use the powers of existing law and the Ontario state of emergency?
So I could tell you the three levels of government that have come together to support our efforts in this have led us to be able to have the success we're starting to see right now. The Emergency Measures Act, the Provincial Emergency Act, as well as the City of Ottawa Emergency and Injunction that have been provided, have created the ability for us to use powers and use new and existing powers to be able to properly deal with the demonstration to ultimately bring it to an end. Without the authorities that have been provided to us through these pieces of legislation, we wouldn't be able to be doing the work we are today.
My other question here is, you talked about the arrests, thank you for that. But during the live video today on CTV News Channel, we saw in between when there was the hold the line issue there between the protesters and the police, there was some hitting amongst one another. Was there any injuries? Are you reporting any injuries right now from police and protesters?
So I can tell you we have no injuries from the protester. We have one injury to one of the members of the police team. It was a minor injury that has been treated.
Chief, I'm cheating here with an extra question, but I'm just wondering if we have an update on, or an estimate as to how many protesters are actually still here. It's mixed in with media. It's kind of hard to tell. Is there any update you can give us on that?
So again, we're not providing numbers, a number of people present, number of operational resources we're using as we move ahead.
What I mean for the protesters.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
we're not providing any of those numbers. Okay. Thank you very much.
Well, gentlemen, I think I am going to be sick.
Yeah, I don't even know what to say. I'm kind of looking at that going, He kind of seemed a little bit nervous up there on stage, though. He was kind of licking his lips, and he looked like he had a bit of dry mouth going on there. He replaced the current, the previous chief, right? So he's the new
interim chief.
Interim chief.
Interim chief.
So we don't know how long this guy's going to last, right? Maybe he's just there to smash some heads, and then somebody else will take his place later.
Oh, it's been all kinds of drama. While we were watching that, I did take the liberty to look up. So 21 vehicles have been towed so far. I think there's a lot of baloney in what he was saying there. This is not only is this an abuse of authority, this is an abuse of language.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not going to end either, right? Even if they do clear up Ottawa and the whole thing is sorted out, it's not going to end. They're going to keep going. I mean, Trudeau's going to go, the Trudeau government. I mean, I think they're going to go after their political opponents after this is all done.
Yeah, so everybody needs to keep their heads low, I guess. And do you worry about that as a former and I think current PPC supporter and candidate?
Oh, absolutely. I've worked 40 years of my life to get a house and to save a little bit of money and stuff like that. It's quite a scary thing to realize that your whole life's work could end up in the coffers of the Justin Trudeau government, just because I don't agree with him politically. It's crazy.
So those comments from Interim Chief Bell were carefully crafted, and they keep using specific terms like unlawful protest, illegal protest. And I would suggest that that is open to debate. And the judge, as I've pointed out before, who granted the injunction against the horn honking, did refer to it and did confirm that the protest down there is lawful. That's in a court ruling. So, but the continued use of that phrasing is meant to discredit these demonstrations. And as we pointed out earlier, Brendan, it seems like the application of definitions when it comes to what is lawful and what isn't is being selective. It's selective coming from police. The other thing that I sort of take a bit of exception to is the way that he refers to the streets, returning the streets to the people who own them, the local residents who own them. The truth is, the streets are a public space, and especially in the nation's capital, the streets, especially around the Parliament buildings and in the downtown areas in the vicinity, belong to the public. They belong to the Canadian people. And if there is an appropriate place to hold a demonstration, which he has acknowledged, it's right there. He says they've had many peaceful protests in the past, as they have. That's absolutely true. And that's what we've seen over the past 3 weeks here. Is it an unprecedented protest at an unprecedented level? Absolutely. But then so too are the circumstances surrounding this protest. Though the circumstances that precipitated this, caused this, fueled this, sparked this, those circumstances are absolutely unprecedented because the government measures that have been implemented, stripping people of their rights, are unprecedented. So I take exception to this whole notion that they have no business being there as protesters because those streets belong only to the local residents. That is a red herring. It is not true. They have every right to be there and demonstrate peacefully.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, unless someone's paying the mortgage on those streets, which which is the taxpayer in general, everybody has a right to walk on those streets, not just the people that live there.
Yep.
I beg the question here for everybody. If it's reaffirmed by a judge at a later time that the protests that have been going on for the past 3 weeks is in fact lawful, does that open every politician, media organization, and police member who have went out and said the word illegal to lawsuit?
Yeah, I don't know if there'll be. I mean, especially with this government in power, there won't be anybody held to account.
Nope, not at all. You're right.
Justin Trudeau won't even hold himself to account. I mean, all this protest is all about Justin Trudeau. Everything we're seeing in Ottawa, the borders closing, everything is all about people's dislike for Justin Trudeau. I mean, how many votes did he get in the last election? 6,000 total, I think. I mean, he doesn't even represent.
We got to fact check him.
Yeah, you got to fact check that. I'm just off the top of my head, though. It was about 6,000, right?
You mean in his own riding, you mean?
No, I mean in all of Canada, the people that voted for Justin Trudeau. Somebody gave me some information today. I posted it on Twitter and said that about 6 million people voted for, did I say 1,000? 6 million. Yes. 6 million people voted for Justin Trudeau. So with a country of a population of 38 million, I mean, he doesn't even represent 15% of the population.
Oh, you mean, well, okay, because nationally, you don't vote directly for the prime minister. You vote for your candidates, right? Yeah. So yes, but he was elected with about 30% of the vote. So he had enough for a minority government, but he still has power. And right now he sits at 16% in the polls. When asked about, when people asked specifically about him, he's sitting with an approval rating of about 16%. Only 16% of Canadians actually would want to have him reelected.
Yeah, I heard the Conservatives just started to spike up in the polls too, right? To 39% or something.
Yes, yeah.
And the NDP down 2%, and Justin Trudeau's down 2%. So, I mean, this isn't even a representative government that we got here.
No, it's not.
By any means of the imagination. And the one thing I noticed in the last election as well is that the MPs themselves, they're more like salesmen. So they come to wherever you're from, Chatham or London, and they're just selling the message that Trudeau's putting out, and they just repeat it and repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. So not really focusing on the needs of the constituents, they're focusing on selling Canadians a product, i.e. climate change, i.e. vaccines, i.e. whatever. I mean, it'd be nice if we had politicians that actually listened to the constituents and then followed up based on what they were hearing, instead of government officials coming around just as pocket salesmen.
You're right. Everything they do is actually some sort of a campaign.
Yeah, and that's really the problem. Like there is no representation, right? I mean, look at the Liberal leader in my riding, for example. Her whole campaign imploded. Her campaign manager quit. She showed up to no debates. She did nothing. I haven't even heard from her since the election. And but she won.
People do vote for brands, and yeah.
Like, wow. So
yeah, I haven't been able to find that specifically on your Twitter, but I did see, interestingly enough, that Andrew Lawton, he is a journalist with True North. He was pepper sprayed today.
Yeah,
I mean, he's probably one of the least threatening individuals I've ever seen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they found the need to pepper spray him and to teach him that he shouldn't be there.
Not only that, the government has frozen the bank accounts for Druthers News and also the bank accounts for some of the reporters for Druthers News, specifically the reporters who are on the ground there in Ottawa. Apparently, they went to go get breakfast this morning, and they were unable to make any purchases because their credit cards, debit cards, everything's frozen.
Yeah, that's disgusting. When the Canadian government's going after media that they don't like, right? So whether it be Druthers or Rebel or any at True North or any of these other small organizations, the Liberal government really doesn't like them.
Hey guys, look, Justin Trudeau made it. Did you guys see that?
He what?
The top left-hand corner.
Oh yeah, I saw that there. Yeah.
Oh, he brought his cutout.
There he is.
There he is.
There's Justin. Hey, buddy. Hey, Justine, over here.
Yeah.
Man of the hour. We have a question for you.
Well,
that would be nice if Justin Trudeau showed up. I mean, he wouldn't have to worry. He could show up, and I'm sure everybody would be happy to see him.
Oh yeah.
He'd probably have like a 2-star general outfit on and
a man of the people.
He can throw his Castro uniform on, and he can give a speech about all his love.
So I've been seeing a lot in the chat box about people run over by horses today. I had a lot of family obligations today, so I missed some things. Was that already played today? I have the video for it.
Nope. Yeah, cue that up. Let's take a look at that.
Roger.
Because they did bring in mounted units.
Yes.
It's sort of, I think what we're going to see will sort of change the image that people have in their minds, that cliched image of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police as being this sort of majestic figure sitting atop a majestic horse.
And now they just become basically tools for the government to go after its political opponents.
All right, I got it. Let me know when you're.
Okay, you're all queued up. Let's take a look and see what happened.
All right, firing away. Here it is.
Oh, come on through. Come on through. What is happening here? Wow, what is this lady doing? Trampling horses. Trampling. Stop it. Stop it. Look. Oh my God. They just trampled this lady.
Did they come back?
They just trampled that lady. They just fully trampled that lady. They just fully trampled that lady. There's the lady. There's the lady that was trampled. Yeah, the lady got fully trampled with a horse.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
They just got crushed by a horse.
Man, I hope she's okay. Yeah, it's absolutely disgusting.
This is the darkest stuff I've ever seen.
Yeah, no, it is. It's I don't even half the time I'm just in a state of shock. I'm looking at these videos, just going, "What the hell? Where am I living here?"
I've got a video I want to play for you guys. This fella here, he's been targeted heavily by police. Let me see if I've got a better here. This one. Hang on just a second. This is an alternative point of view to what we heard from the interim chief, okay? This guy's name is Jeremy McKenzie, and he's a veteran. And he posted this video today. I've watched some of his stuff, and the authorities, the government, they've really tried to discredit this man, and they've targeted him. And I don't know his full story. I've read some media reports where they have said some really terrible things about him that I don't know if they're true or not. And there have been charges laid against him and others, but I think that what he has to say here might be worthwhile. I've not watched this entire video, but he refers specifically to the incident we just saw, and I just happen to have this in the queue. Let's just listen to some of what he has to say.
Was is a stain on this country that will take a very, very long time to clean out. The actions of the police forces deployed around Ottawa are beyond inexcusable, reprehensible, deplorable, immoral, violent. I saw a woman get butt stroked with a rifle. People's windows were smashed. They were hauled out of their vehicles. A friend of mine was trampled by cops. Friends of mine, wounded guys with their smashed up bodies that they put on the line for this country, were beaten by police, unarmed. There's no word. I'm having a difficult time finding the words right now, and I'll have a lot more to say later tonight when I settle in, and I'll do this on my podcast, I suppose. But this is a national tragedy, and it's still going on. It's still continuing. There's people trapped in a pocket downtown, and they're being trampled and pushed around and roughed up, and it looks like they're getting ready to gas them. They've got full riot gear, cops, batons, guns, M4s, C8 carbines, snipers, armored cars, horses. I saw a family get ripped apart. This was the most beautiful and positive thing I ever saw come out of this country. And how this government reacted was with brute force. And where is the savior Conservative Party, who said nothing for 2 years? And we came to this point because of those people, because of their weakness and inability to do what is morally correct. And now this is where we're at, and there's crickets, nothing. You're trying to draft up a statement, Pierre? Why weren't you down there? You want to be prime minister? Sit down. Candace Bergen, sit down. How does that quote go? In the end, we don't remember the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. Conservative Party is not your friend. Let's talk about friends for a minute. I said, whenever that was, time is a funny thing down here in this bubble, that the movement had been subverted from the top down, that government operatives had taken control and hijacked this, and that is exactly what happened. You have a Liberal Party operative in there who campaign managed for Marco Mendocino, who calling us terrorists, me specifically, though he doesn't have the guts to say it out loud because it is ridiculous as it sounds. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Who'd have thought? And you've got BJ Dichter in there, longtime Conservative Party operative, government operative. Whose government exactly? We're not quite sure yet, but he loves to subvert movements. He tried to get into the PPC and spread all kinds of, the Muslims are the problem shit during the first election cycle with the PPC. He manages all of the online Canadian political personalities, like Tom Quiggin, for example, his little friend there, who, works for CSIS. Oh, I'm sorry, he's retired CSIS. They're not truckers. How did they get there? How did they get to the top? Why are they doing all the talking? Who is this guy? And where is he now? And where was he today? He's gone. BJ's not in Ottawa anymore. He's fled, probably with the money. And he told everyone to go home and surrender. After it was too late, of course. After all these people were kettled in and being arrested, having their lives destroyed, having their finances destroyed, their bank accounts frozen and seized. Who knows how many people are being doxxed illegally, having their data hacked and stolen by criminal scumbags at the behest of the liberal government, who then use it to punish these people. People are losing their jobs for $25 and $100 donations to some people that just want their lives back. And they enact the War Measures Act, the Emergency Measures Act, to justify a violent and brutal crackdown on old people and women and wounded veterans. You beat wounded veterans in the street. You scum! No one will ever forgive you, and nor should they. Never, 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 never. This is my worst nightmare come true. The stain can never be removed. What you've done today will remain in the mindset of the Canadian people for generations. For generations. Are you proud of yourselves? Are you happy? You think this is over now? You think these people are going to go home and go, oh, well, just doing my job? You permanently wounded the country, and everyone's going to remember it forever. And you still got to go to work tomorrow as a cop, and the day after that, and the day after that. And everybody else that does. Horrifying. And the next time, anytime, from now until the day I die, when anyone brings up the Canadian police officer, you know what I'm going to remember? You know what I'm going to think of? I'm going to think of Chris Deering, who was wounded in 2008 in the 2nd Battalion Royal Canadian Regiment, fighting for this country, being beaten by police thugs. What does he weigh? 130 pounds? It took 4 of you guys? Good job, big man. My friend Brian, Jack, now he's got a neck injury. He already had one. Great job. He tried to twist his head off. You scum. And my friend Kristen, who is a heroic, brave, courageous woman, being shoved around and trampled while she's preaching, love and unity by you. That's what you did to her. And I'm going to remember that woman you dragged out of a crowd, wrestled her to the ground, and beat her over the head with a rifle. So if anyone's confused of what happened today, that's what happened today. That is now the Canadian police officer.
Jeremy McKenzie, Canadian veteran.
Yeah, I agree with pretty every word he says, actually. He's absolutely 100% right about everything he said. So, of course, the Trudeau government's not going to like him. They especially hate you if you're right.
Right meaning correct.
Correct, yeah. I mean, some of the stuff that he pointed out, women being beat over the head with a rifle, and veterans being, attacked and beat up by the police. I mean, this is going to stand in the memory of Canadians for a long time, and I don't know how long, but it's certainly something that I'm going to remember next time.
And he is not making that stuff up. We did run video earlier today in the raw feeds showing veterans being beaten by police. We showed that. We have that, had that on video. It's in our previous broadcast. It's there. It happened. We showed you video in this broadcast of windows being smashed so people could be dragged out of their vehicles. We showed you that those people were trampled by horses. We showed that to you. He's not making it up. It did happen. That is the truth. So there is a huge disconnect between what we heard from the police chief, who is saying, or interim chief, saying they've been totally professional and everything's running like clockwork and it's all very efficient. And over here, this is the word that we're getting on the other side from someone on the ground, a Canadian veteran, someone who has been targeted by police and the government for a variety of reasons over the past few years, because he is a podcaster and they don't like what he's saying. So he's been targeted and he's facing a wide range of different charges. But I'm telling you, what he had to say in that video, he deserves to be heard. And regardless of what the government has been doing to him with legally, he's still a veteran and his voice deserves to be heard. We're trying to present a balanced and truthful perspective on all of this, and he deserves to be heard. Those are powerful words, and we know, because we were able to verify everything he said, that is true. Everything that he said is true.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the part that, I mean, for the longest time, especially with Justin Trudeau at the helm of the Canadian government, to be honest, I didn't feel particularly proud to be Canadian with Justin Trudeau at the holding the rings of control. In fact, we were kind of like an international laughingstock. I mean,
we did prove it, Christian. We did prove it. We showed you the video today and tonight. We proved it. What he said is true. Sorry.
Yeah, he is a...
Yeah, no, absolutely. But and what I'm saying is the first time that I actually felt proud to be a Canadian again is when I heard about the Truckers for Freedom rally. Was actually the moment that I went, wait a minute, we're actually setting, we're setting the tone here on the world stage. People are following us for once. They're not looking at us as a bunch of useless socialist sheep. People are seeing, our leadership, and this movement is spreading all over the world. So, for that moment of feeling proud of my country, I mean, it's something that I'm going to hold with me for a long time. No matter what Justin Trudeau does, he tries, he wants to smash it down. He wants to destroy any hope that Canadians have. That's fine. The whole world is going to see that. At least I hope the whole world sees that.
Well, 100%. Randy Hillier said it best when he said, those transports did not come across the country empty. They came carrying hope.
Yeah.
To everybody in this country.
And that's what Canadians need right now.
Despite all of the shame that we have to look at here, we should still be proud, because brave Canadian citizens, men and women, went there, and Justin Trudeau took his mask off for the world to see. This is the garbage that he does. Like, I'm burning up inside after watching all this stuff tonight. Like, I never would have thought I would have been this emotional about it. This is disgusting. This is what Justin Trudeau is. These socialist parties that say that they're out for the little guy, that they're out to protect the little person, fuck that. They don't give a shit about anybody. They don't give a shit about anybody or anything. They say those things to manipulate and to control, to make you feel bad.
Yeah, I mean, all the parties in Canada have been in this right from the get-go. I don't think any of the parties oppose Justin Trudeau in any way, shape, or form. In fact, I think most Canadians don't even know how that government operates anymore. I think Justin Trudeau wakes up in the morning, he gives his edict, and then all his little MPs run around and make it happen. And then, generally the Conservatives wouldn't push back on anything. I mean, look at Aaron O'Toole, right? Mr. Liberal Light. He was so liberal, he lost his job.
Flip-flop Hall of Famer.
The flip-flop Hall of Famer, right? So,
yeah.
Speaking of Randy Hillier, he did issue a statement titled "Canada Has Fallen." Today he says, with Ottawa police arresting people for waving flags and standing in defense of their charter rights, Randy Hillier, who is the MPP for Lanark-Frontenac-Kingston, expressed his outrage at the stunning silence coming from Parliament, especially Conservative members who once were stalwart defenders of the Charter. Our elected representatives' primary responsibility is the safeguarding of the people's charter rights, yet not one MP came out and publicly condemned the actions of the police and our Prime Minister today, said Hillier. They are too cowardly to even debate the Emergencies Act while it is executed upon the people they represent. And it goes on, but you're getting the gist, and that is Randy Hillier's statement today on what has been happening on Parliament Hill. Comments?
Yeah, Randy Hillier has always been on the side of freedom and patriots since I know him. He helped me a great deal in the 2021 election. Got a lot of support from No More Lockdowns. I owe him big time for the help that I received. He's a great guy, and he's been fighting for Canadians since the get-go. So.
And Carla Olson is back. You're alive. You're well. You have not been arrested, along with the other journalists on the scene.
I was not
Lucky
arrested.
No,
Lucky my
Pepper's
phone
good.
died.
You did sound terrified there when you signed off on your last live there. You sounded kind of scared. I was like, oh gee, I hope she's okay.
Yeah, I don't even know if terrified, cold. I don't know if terrified is the right word. I think so heavy-hearted at what I witnessed out there.
Yeah.
I stood there thinking, is this the country? Is this Canada? Is it really Canada? It was disturbing.
I think a lot of us are asking ourselves the same question. It didn't take very long for Canada to fall, did it?
No.
I disagree.
And I liked. You think it took a long time?
We're not falling. We're
not-
rising.
This
is going to be a great awakening. It has been the great awakening. And you know what? Although we are heavy with despair right now, we are rising.
Are we, Brendan, though? Are we? I
are.
wonder. We are today, every person is in some sort of a social media bubble. And we always think that we have more people on our side than we do, I think. And I think that it's prudent to step back and take stock and really try to get a true sense of where the public mood is and where public support is right now. Did we have the protesters? Do they really have the support of the majority of people? Will this event be broadcast far and wide enough for Canadians to know what really has been happening down there today? Will the legacy media share any of this footage? Tell people what really happened? Are you going to see any of that on CTV? The trampling, the horses trampling those people, the windows being smashed, people being dragged out of their vehicles, Canadian veterans being beaten with rifles and being beaten, kneed, punched. Is any of that going to be broadcast or shown or talked about in the major newspapers? And if not, do we have enough reach with independent media like this? I wonder if I call my parents tonight who are elderly and only watch television, what's their perspective going to be? I wonder, Brendan, in this day and age, 2022, where will all of this end up? Will the people really know? Are they really going to be told? And will they really remember? Jeremy in that clip says, yes, it'll be remembered for generations. But the victors in a war get to write the history.
But that's where you are wrong, because if you think about it, in the 1700s in the United States, Thomas Paine wrote the pamphlet, The Rights of Man, which is still a celebrated document to this day. And it was not mainstream media. It was not legacy media. These are things that have powerful messages that live through the ages. And the things that we talk about now and the things that we are showing people are going to be real. Legacy media is dead. Absolutely dead. It is one election away from being entirely wiped out.
I think in the past it could be safe to say that most people, the people that got, maybe about 20% of the people that got their information got it from social media or Facebook and stuff like that. But I think the dynamics has changed a little bit with the lockdowns and people staying home and working from home and stuff like that. So I think that there's a lot more people on social media now than there probably ever was, trying to find out what's really happening and what's happening in the truth. So I don't know. You're right. You don't want to live in a bubble, just to give yourself that wrong idea that something positive might happen. But you also, I think if you look at social media, I think there is a big surge there.
I don't know. I hope you guys are right. I just see a lot of censorship happening. Alternative media platforms where there isn't as much or there isn't censorship just don't have the same reach. It's a struggle. It's an ongoing battle. It is an information war as much as anything else. That's why we're here, right? We're trying to get it out. I wonder because Facebook, YouTube, they feed you the information that they know you want to see. It's an algorithm. They know what you like and they push your buttons. They actually show you some stuff you don't like to get you emotional. So you're being manipulated all the time. And as a result, we're always in this little bubble. And it's hard to have a true perspective these days.
I even post a picture of myself on Facebook. I get the COVID alert message.
Yeah. Right.
Like I could even just smile and go, "Hi, warning! This could contain COVID messages." I'm like, "What the fuck?" Excuse my French.
I don't know. Oh, and by the way, Mike McMullen, meet Carla Olson and Carla.
Hello.
Hi, Mike. It's a pleasure.
How are you? Pleasure to meet you too.
I've had better nights, Mike. To be fair.
I bet. Yeah.
I'm usually very positive. Tonight, I'm really struggling to be positive. That was something I wish I would have never witnessed.
It's hard to be positive when you're faced with all that stuff that you're dealing with in Ottawa with the law enforcement, the police, and their military takeover, and some of the things that Rick was talking about. I mean, it's hard to stay positive in that situation, but you do have to try.
Yeah. Well, I still believe that my big thing is love wins. Love always wins, and that's what Ottawa's been about. It's been a great, big, humongous, ginormous, bouncing castle love fest, and and I do have to believe that the good always overpowers evil, and I think what happened tonight was pretty evil.
Yeah, definitely.
So fill us in about what would be the most disturbing things that you've seen today, or can you share with us maybe some of those darker moments and maybe give people a sense of how you felt during them and that sort of thing.
Me? You're asking me? Okay.
No, Rick was there asking. No,
I think one of the most, there were so many things that were disturbing. Obviously, I saw the horses coming, knowing that they had trampled. I was back far enough, luckily. And again, thank you to Big Law, because he wasn't letting me get closer. He could kind of foresee that things were going to happen. When those horses came in and they moved the people back, and knowing that 2 people were trampled underneath, that was probably the worst thing. And I didn't even actually see it with my eyes. But prior to that, I think at the point when I was close to the officers, and I believe they were RCMP in full riot gear, they were the ones with the helmets and the shields on. You could clearly see their eyes. And when I looked into their eyes, it was like they weren't there. It was like nothing. It was this blank. And at that moment, I knew that they were going to be rough. I knew that they were going to be out of hand because I couldn't see any humanity in their eyes. And I know that that's a very little thing to many people, but that's also a powerful thing, and it's very scary. And then the events following what I saw in their eyes will tell you. I mean, they beat up an injured veteran with a gun. The way that they were pushing people, they were pushing women and children down onto the ground if they were anywhere near that line. As they wanted to make ground, they were just pushing people to the ground, punching people in the chest, pushing them in any way that they could with such aggression. I saw them pull 2 women out of the back of a pickup truck, and then there were flags. There was a Canadian flag, and of course there was an F. Trudeau flag in the back of the truck. And just the force and the disgust they had as they whipped that flag out of there. It was the Canadian one that bothered me. But pulling those women out of there, and then later pulling the man out of his truck, it was a lot. It was just the level of aggression. I could see, it felt like I could see hate in their eyes. And I was thinking to myself, as I looked around, near the end, I was standing behind a group of OPP officers, and they acted in a manner very much like the officers that I've seen on the ground, those same officers who witnessed the peacefulness of this protest. They were the same. But these officers that they had in that riot gear, I think they were RCMP, it was obvious that they had never stepped foot in Ottawa during this protest, because they came with, when we were talking about information war, they came with the information that was fed to them, likely by mainstream media, likely by the government or their boss, you know, the heads of their police organization, and they came with an intention that we were terrorists. You could see it in their eyes. I think had those officers been on the ground, they may have acted a little bit differently.
Question.
There was zero empathy. It was frightening just to see them.
So here's a question. We keep saying over and over again, and I keep hearing it over and over again, and I've said it myself, less so lately, but things like, well, you know, we know those police officers, most of them really don't even really want to be there. And, you know, we still back the blue. And, you know, well, they're just doing their job, and, you know, we keep excusing it. We keep excusing this, and we say, well, we really hope that they'll have a change of heart and do the right thing and support the protesters, right? All of this talk to support the police, support these officers who are on the ground. But at what point do we hold them accountable? Yeah, they've got orders. Yeah, they've got a job. Yeah, they've got a mortgage. Yeah, they've got to pay their bills like everybody else. Yeah, it's their job. So what? A lot of other people have lost their jobs. And those other people, that's right, you lost your damn job, right? But, you know, what's their job? Their job is to go out and beat people who have lost their job with a frickin' gun butt.
Yeah.
Well, at what point do we hold them accountable? Are we still going to excuse this?
And
No.
a lot of the law enforcement don't even need to be vaccinated. They're exempt.
Oh.
So they're enforcing laws that they don't even have to do.
So I'm asking you guys, like, at what point do we stop saying, well, do we stop excusing this and saying, well, you know, the cops are just doing, like, at what point?
I am not excusing it. I'm calling it what it is, it's tyranny. You cannot reconcile back the blue and come and take it in the same philosophy.
These guys have to reconcile this. And if they don't, and they participate in this, they are tearing down our country. They are demolishing democracy. They are at war tonight with the people of Canada, with their own citizens. They are the frontline soldiers for the government. They're being used as a tool. They're allowing themselves to be manipulated, and they're doing it for a paycheck. They're goons. That's what they are. And if they're not comfortable with it, then they need to quit. And if they're not going to quit, then I guess they're okay with it. But I'm not okay with it.
No.
I'm not. And I never thought I would find myself on that side of the line. Okay? But these guys scare the living hell out of me. The government scares the hell out of me today. So at what point?
Yeah, I know. I've attended.
Sorry, go ahead, Mike.
I was going to say I've attended hundreds of protests over the years, going all the way back to the beginning of these mandates, and I have never seen anything like this in my life. Even the London police would help us and escort us and you know, cheer us along in our protests. And you know, I've never, and everything was fine. So until Justin Trudeau, our tyrant leader, has just unleashed the dogs on the citizenry, and I've never seen this before. So it's disgusting.
And what about all the cops that they, you know, people keep saying, well, there's still a lot of good cops in there, still a lot of good ones. Yeah, well, maybe it's time for the good cops to stand up to the bad cops. Maybe it's time for them to speak up and say, hey, Joe, what the hell are you doing?
We saw one today. One brave officer left the line, joined us, and he was immediately put to the ground and arrested by his colleagues, his brothers.
Wow.
No, these are not good people. There is no changing them. It is time tonight, Rick, to answer your question. Tonight is the night. Today. They have waged war on Canadian citizens, on the very people that pay their salary, the very people who have been supporting them, who have been calling them heroes, they have turned around and they have waged war on Canadians, just as Justin Trudeau has. It's tonight. For me, personally, it's tonight.
At some point, you have to make that moral decision, right? I did when I left CTV. I was like, I can't do this with these guys anymore. They're twisting the truth, and I just don't want to work for them anymore. I left. I made a decision. It was an expensive decision, but it was the right one. And I see that more than ever today. These cops should be making that same decision. But I guess, everybody has their price, right?
Well, and let us not forget to add that these officers have a post. They have a schedule. They're scheduled to work a certain amount of hours. The police that are here tonight are not scheduled to work. These are not their regular scheduled hours. Each and every one of them are being paid overtime. They chose this.
Right. You're right. That's what I said earlier, too. Yes. They chose to come here, and they're getting paid extra.
They weren't ordered here.
Yes. They're getting paid extra. They're picking up some extra moolah to do Justin Trudeau's dirty work. That's what's going on.
And where is Justin Trudeau? That dictator. Where is he?
Yes.
Good luck finding him. He's probably in his bunker somewhere.
I'm sorry to say it, but I hope the globalists get him. And I said it there. I hope you don't lose your channel because they said that.
Well, I don't wish any ill will on anyone, right? We don't wish any ill will.
Not ill will, but I hope that he has to answer to more than just the Canadians because he's not listening to the Canadians.
Right. I think ultimately this will cost him his job as prime minister and leader of the party. Yeah, I think his political career, this will end his career.
We could resolve all these issues right now very simply just by arresting one man, Justin Trudeau. That would be it. That would be it.
And these cops should be turning around and turning on Justin Trudeau and storming him and arresting him, putting him on the ground.
Yeah, one arrest and everybody.
Tim.
Yeah.
The truth is the government that's been lawless in the way that they've shredded the Constitution, the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. They just disregard it. They're making up laws as they go along. They don't care whether anything is constitutional or not. They just do whatever they want.
Yeah, they just do whatever. They pretty much ripped up the charter.
Oh, we want the fuel. We'll go in and steal the fuel from the truckers. Just take it.
Yeah.
It's private property, but it belongs to us.
There is no more.
Let's go.
Yeah, there's no more law and order in this country as far as justice goes. It's done. It's finished. From everything I'm seeing today and what's going on in Ottawa and everything, it's just, I mean, we have a criminal government, and eventually they're going to start coming after people. All of us.
They already are, and you're right. They're coming after us all. If you think it's going to stop here, everybody, if you think it's going to stop here, think again. They're coming for you too. They're coming for everybody. Anybody that opposes them, they've in many ways come for us already. And we're all targets now, right? Everybody.
Yeah,
I come for your bank account.
Yeah, I donated $50 to the Freedom Convoy, so I completely expect they're coming after me.
Yes, we did have a guest on the other night, Brian Everett, and he had confided in us that some of his workmates who had used a credit card to do such a thing, and their credit card is no longer active, can't be used.
Disgusting.
Like, horrendous. And I had a great epiphany the other day. This is kind of like a different topic, but I kind of wanted everybody's thought on it. That a lot of these people on the other side, the tyrannical people, they go, oh, well, they should have just made their point and then left, like a week. And then I thought to myself, well, did Gandhi just hang around for a week and then say, oh, okay, I made my point? And then did Moses hang around for a week with Pharaoh? Say, let my people go? Did he hang around for a week and then go home? Like, this is stupid.
Well, I was going to say, just look at it this way. I mean, we had, I think they said 1.5 or something like 2 million Canadians have shown up in Ottawa since this all began. I mean, Trudeau caused this nightmare, right? He caused it. He pissed off so many Canadians so badly that 50,000 plus trucks showed up in Ottawa along with over 1 million Canadians. So does Trudeau, is he gonna stop any of this? No. He's gonna keep coming after us. He's not done yet. He's just getting started.
I agree. I think that's exactly true.
I think so. I mean, you have a prime minister that pissed off so many people that this many people showed up in Ottawa, and he's still not backing down. I mean,
Yeah.
you think you can go there and protest for a day and Trudeau's going to remember you and hear you? I mean, the only reason why this is being remembered and stuff is that there are so many people sitting in Ottawa and holding their ground and holding the line.
And are there enough people there, Carla, do you think, to keep this going into tomorrow?
Oh,
sorry,
we
you're
lost audio.
muted. We've lost your audio, Carla. We've lost your audio. No, still can't hear you.
Did your headphones die?
I don't know. Well, we'll throw it over to you guys while she figures out her audio. What do you guys think? Is this going to continue into tomorrow, or are they going to clean this thing up tonight?
I think it's going to continue. I mean, there's so many people there right now. It's going to continue. I think they're going to try to pick off people here and there, but I don't think they're going to go after the large crowd. It's the same as what they did in Windsor, right? They just waited until the crowd went down and they started picking people off 2 by 2s, right?
That's right. See, it's cold. It's hard to hang out there all day. All they have to do is wait.
Yeah. In this case, there's so many people gathered together and stuff like that. I don't know. I mean, they would have to really abuse people because I don't think a lot of people over there are planning on leaving.
That's a good point.
I mean, if I was there, I wouldn't be leaving. I'd be saying, look, we're holding the line, but I'm not.
Yeah. Difficult times, difficult decisions to be made, obviously.
It'd be nice if Justin Trudeau would just let's just dissolve government and just hold another election and let's just get this stuff over with.
Yeah.
I don't even think that would. Another election right now would probably be a big mess.
Oh, it'd be a big mess. It'd be an absolute mess. But I don't know how else to get rid of Justin Trudeau at this point.
No, neither do I. I wish I knew. The only thing that I can tell everybody is we've just witnessed Luke Skywalker's hand getting cut off, and at the end of Empire Strikes Back, like that's what we've seen here. That's what's going on here right now.
Like, couldn't the opposition just call a non-confidence vote, or are they worried? Or are they worried the NDP isn't going to, vote?
NDP is Justin's buddy, and they love each other, and they hang out.
We have this news conference with these lawyers. Can we just run a little bit of this clip and see what they're saying about what's been going on today?
Yeah, I have to check on something. Excuse me a moment.
Sure.
Of course, we would expect that the first time a statute is used, particularly one of an exceptional nature, it would be unprecedented. But we didn't imagine that it would be unprecedented in this particular way, where it appears to be a gross overreach for what the statute was created for. The way the government has treated what's going on, particularly in Ottawa as an emergency, has unified honest people on both the left and the right in coming together to say that this is not what the act was meant for. And not only has there not been much scrutiny from a lot of the legacy media, but many of those in social media and otherwise are cheering on the Prime Minister and the government in taking this unnecessary step. I remember when many of those same people who are cheering that on were the same people in the media and otherwise who, when Harper wanted to get rid of the long form census, were up in arms about that. And yet in this particular situation, we have a peaceful protest taking place in our nation's capital, and Prime Minister Trudeau wants to use the force of this exceptional power to shut it down. And many people in the media are saying nothing about it. It used to be that the media's role was to hold the government to account for the benefit of the people. But what we've been seeing in the last few days is many in the legacy media trying to hold people to account for the benefit of the government. And that's just not acceptable. Now, yesterday, here in Ottawa, the police handed out a number of flyers basically saying in no uncertain terms, go home, leave the area. And we know that that's the basis for the invocation of the Emergency Act here. But I wanted to make a few observations about whether or not it requires people to have to leave. Now, I will say that my comments today should not be construed as legal advice. One of the reasons why is that each and every person who may wish to have legal advice has their own unique circumstances and facts that apply to them. But secondly, one of the reasons why I've refrained from giving prospective legal advice in a situation like this is because there are so many unknowns. We're dealing with an act that has no jurisprudence, that has no precedence, and we're dealing with a climate that's highly politicized. And so I may make some observations on what I think the law should be.
We've actually, heard some of this before, so I'll just get your comments, Carla. What do you think about his statements and what you saw down there? To just put those two things together and give me your perspective. Oh, you still have no audio, so I'm here all alone. How am I supposed to do this alone? I need you. Help me, Carla. Help me. How about you, Mike? Can you jump in here? Are you still there? I've lost your video feed.
Yeah, give me a second. I just put you on mute. Yeah, no, it's the guy's right. The lawyer there is absolutely 100% correct. There is no precedent for any of this stuff. So it's like the Wild West out there in Ottawa right now. The cops are probably, the chief of police is saying they're all following their orders and they're all doing what they're supposed to be doing. But I actually think it's like the Wild West out there, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah. It's scaring the living daylights out of me. Are you back yet, Carla? You got audio? Why don't you just if it's on your phone, why don't you just unplug your microphone and earphones and just use the mic that's on the phone? Just do it that way. Can you do that? Maybe she's just playing a joke on me. I don't know.
And we could end up seeing the courts are just going to be, the courts are already filled up with a bunch of BS COVID bylaw infractions that'll probably never get settled. Because I don't think that many people that got tickets in the past, just paid them. Most people just probably be fighting them. And it's the same with what's going on here, right? So every abuse, there could be another lawsuit. Could turn into a class action lawsuit, actually, depending on what happens next. I don't think people are just going to take it laying down anymore. Sometimes they say that punishment is in the process, right? So, they accuse you of something, and then you take them to court to clear your good name, but you're actually being punished by having to take them to court to make them recant their accusation.
Yes.
So a lot of people tend to avoid the legal structure, I think, because they know that it's going to be more hassle than it's worth sometimes. But I think in this particular case, I think we need all the lawyers to start piping up and start stepping up. And let's just, we need to start doing lawsuits against the Canadian government.
So,
Carla's
I think she's back. I can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
I can. We all can.
We can.
Aren't you guys lucky? I don't know what the problem was, honestly. I tried 2 different headsets. I don't know.
So, thoughts on what that lawyer had to say? Do you even remember where we were?
No, my head's kind of all over the place. I have to stay right on top of everything.
So the first question I asked you was, do you think there are enough people down there? Do they have enough momentum to stay until to make this last into tomorrow?
Well, I mean, yeah, there's quite a few people. About half of the crowd is kind of being corralled, right, between the two sets of police officers being pushed. And I think that there are thousands. I mean, I'm sure you can see there are so many more officers beyond that front line of officers that were pushing the crowd. I think they're going to eventually corral them and arrest them. And as I walked back towards the center, there were a significant amount of people still at the center, still people down the side streets, still people around. The organizers did mention, some of you go here, some of you, if you don't feel so great going over there, stay back here with us because, we're going to continue to need more people. So I feel like in a way that's the first line of people to be arrested, unfortunately, and then there'll be a second line again tomorrow.
Yeah. Are any organizers, so-called organizers, still out there, or did they all get arrested?
It's hard to say because by the time I did get back across the, to that center, they had the stage shut down early. So I don't know, and that's usually who comes out and speaks. It's hard to say. I mean, the way that they've been arresting the organizers has been quite strange to me. They've been finding these organizers in very private areas where no one is around. None of the protesters are there with cameras. No one like myself happened to be in the area. Incidentally, Legacy TV seems to be there to record these. And there may be the odd person doing a live because there's someone who's with them. Like, for example, when Tamara Lich was arrested last night, we saw that the RCMP, Bouffard, I think that Beaufort, he was with her begging the police to arrest him. But there was another person there that was recording a live, but no one else was there. Incidentally, Legacy TV was there because they did get a shot of her being arrested. But it was down a very private area where if you look around, there was nothing to do with the convoy around it. So I found that a little bit precarious. And in the same way, when Chris Barber was arrested, it was the same situation. So I feel like when they're taking down these organizers, they seem to be doing it in a more delicate way, a little bit sneaky, like a thief in the night, just like I predicted.
They did not treat Tamara Lich with any grace afterwards. So like her arrest photo is being peddled everywhere, and she looks like hell. They're like, look at this. This is a terrorist. And Tamara Lich, who has told us on various lives, heart-touching stories about the harm that has happened and has cried about them. Like, she appears to me to be a very sincere person.
I think she is, and I think she's got a huge heart. She just wants Canada to stay free, right? And then if you watch in the video when she's actually arrested, there was never a person more compliant. They basically pulled her aside, asked her name, told her that she was being arrested and to turn around. She turned around immediately, put her hands behind her back, and told everyone to hold the line, and walked away very quietly with her head down.
I want to run this video of the horses trampling those people again because I just want to try and get some perspective on it. I should warn people who are watching this that this is very graphic. So I just want to let everybody know before I roll it. But here it is again. And I've seen some terrible comments from some of these trolls on here tonight that I won't repeat. But, nobody should be happy about this.
No.
Come on through. Come on through. What is happening here? Wow. What is this lady doing? Trampling horses. Stop it. Look. Oh my God. They just trampled this lady. They just trampled that lady. They just fully trampled that lady.
And do you see the officers holding the people back from trying to help her? But the officers themselves who are trained
there she is at the back. There she is at the back in the red coat.
Yeah, the lady got fully trampled with a horse.
I have film of this lady on other days dancing.
You just got crushed by a horse. Oh, come on through.
One more
Come on
time.
through. What is happening here? Wow, what is this lady doing? Trampling horses. Trampling. Stop it. Stop it. What? Oh my God. They just trampled this lady. They just trampled that lady. They just fully trampled that lady. They just fully trampled that lady. Here's the lady. Here's the lady that was trampled. Yeah, the lady got fully trampled with a horse.
Two of them.
What the fuck is wrong with you? You just got crushed by a horse.
Can I just interject something? So police officers, as well as firefighters, and of course EMT, but police officers specifically in this situation are all trained on first aid and to be as emergency response in a situation where someone is injured, harmed, perhaps they have a heart attack. Not a single officer offered aid to this woman. They didn't care. And it's their responsibility to provide medical treatment until appropriate medical treatment can come. Is that not part of their job?
Yeah.
They're disgusting. There's no way I could have got into that crowd. You know, you saw I was too far back from that crowd. And instead, even if I was trying, they would have pushed me out. They wouldn't let them. So they allowed this woman to be carried out to get help where, when, how. I was disgusted on so many levels with that.
Yeah, I know. It's pathetic.
There's bloodshed on their hands. The only blood that has been shed in this entire protest has been by the hands of those police officers.
Yep. None of the protesters were violent in any way, shape, or form.
No.
The whole time that I saw.
The blood is on their hands.
On their hands, yeah. Yeah, it's shocking. I mean, and just watching something like that is just shocking, and just to know that it's happening in Canada too, in our nation's capital.
Yeah, so the question to Interim Chief Bell tonight is, what happened to making safety the first priority? What happened to ending this peacefully? How can you stand there in that news conference after having that happen and then say that you're still trying to end this peacefully? Does that look peaceful to you?
No, doesn't look.
What was the crowd charging the police, or were the police charging the crowd? Who was charging who?
The police were charging the crowd, obviously.
100%. They were standing firm.
And you know
they
what?
weren't pushing the police. The police were pushing them.
And you know, it looks like to me, and the first time I saw it, and it became clearer the second and third time I've seen it, that after the horses come through, the police rush in, and it's almost as if they trample.
That's what happened. They were using the horses to come in to make way, to push the people back a certain amount, and then the horses were coming along and forming a line, and then between the police and the people, so they were using the horses to push the people back. When that space was gained, the police were coming forward and rushing the people.
So
that's how they were gaining ground. And then they would put the horses back in a line. Then when they wanted to gain more ground, they brought the horses back in to do it again.
No need for that to have happened today. No need for that.
The people were standing firm. They were not pushing. There was no need for any of that. And for all that, you know what? The people were surrounded. Why didn't they throw in some of their officers and just ask people and just arrest them? That's their goal, was to arrest them. Every single person in that crowd was ready to stand there, put their hands behind their backs, and be arrested. That's what the plan was. And wear it as a badge of honor.
What's the plan? Surrender. That's the plan.
Yeah.
And they were ready for it. They were ready. They were ready. But instead, they had to do a standoff. That was crazy. They still have them cornered right now. What are they doing? They're waiting to agitate the crowd until the crowd can't take it anymore. They're waiting for just one person to do something violent so they can smear it.
Yeah, I mean, they might even create that
That's what they're doing.
that circumstance.
I got some video footage where someone came through the crowd. I don't know exactly what happened, but these two men ended up on the ground. The police that were in the line in front of me got 4 or 5 of them jumped on, broke the fight up, picked up one of the men, started to walk him away. And the man they were walking away, as he walked by my camera, said, "I'm not with this crowd. I'm not with this crowd." But yet he was the aggressor in that situation. Was he a plant? I don't know.
We were actually plugged in you when that happened, believe it or not.
Yeah, it happened so fast I barely caught it, right?
I have an interesting still shot here of an above angle.
Oh, the aerial view of the trampling?
Yeah, it's plugged in right now.
There you go.
You guys can see this guy here.
The horse is on someone at that point.
Yes, and there's the woman with the red coat.
And then there's the person with a brown coat, right?
Is that a walker?
Yes, she has a walker. She was dancing. I have video footage of her dancing her full head off, laughing, smiling, hugging people, and dancing with her walker in the center on Wellington Street at Wellington and Metcalf.
So this is a woman with a physical disability.
Yes.
And they trampled her with a horse.
She's an elderly person with a walker. Yes.
Oh my God.
Congratulations, Ottawa Police Service, and all you other police there today. Way to go. Good job.
Brenda, can you make that picture? Can you expand that picture? Because as I expanded it on my phone, to me, it looked like you could see the horse standing on the woman with the brown coat.
Has anyone seen this on CTV or CBC tonight?
Are you guys able to see my cursor on here by chance?
Okay.
Yeah.
So the horse doesn't appear to be on his head, so his head would be like right about here. I can't. Oh, maybe I can zoom a little bit. So there's a hoof, and the other hoof would be adjacent. So it probably did hit him. Like look at this. Look at the trail of horses, how they go. See, it's all straight, but this horse is all reared out of shape. It's because this guy has probably been stepped on by the horse, and it freaked the horse.
Unbelievable.
And then there's clearly like this is interesting. This is interesting as hell because this goes to show you can see something on video, but you put a different perspective on it, and bam, it's even worse than it looked.
A lot worse.
Even worse than it looked.
And do we know what the condition of these people is tonight?
Somebody said the woman, and somebody in the comments said that.
Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it.
Yeah, because we don't know. We don't have any proof of anything yet, other than maybe a citizen's live and a citizen's perspective. So we'll just have to wait and see what.
If we
what
repeat
comes out
that,
of...
could have a riot on our hands. No, not till we know what we know.
We don't know the condition. We know that they were taken from the crowd.
Right.
Yeah.
We don't want to do anything irresponsible. We don't want to whip people up. We want facts, right?
Yep.
I'm sure they've...
A lot of facts.
I mean, a horse weighs approximately 1,000 pounds, don't they?
Or more. Yeah. I don't know. Oh, my God. A woman who needs to use a walker, and they trampled her. They trampled her. With a horse, with horses.
Yeah, 900 to 2,000 pounds, eh?
They pushed into the crowd. They used the horses to push the crowd back.
But she couldn't get out of the way because she has a walker.
She wasn't quick enough. That crowd moved fast. I was back probably 3 rows at that time. It was tough to push back, to get out of the way because you're walking backwards. And then you see that opening where those horses are. This is where the officers pushed forward towards
those
the crowd.
cops. Those cops.
Those cops. Those dirty cops. They're dirty. Chilling.
I wonder how well they will sleep tonight. I hope their paycheck was worth that. I hope the OT, the double time and a half, or whatever they're paying them, was worth that. Somebody needs to be held accountable for that.
I hope every one of their mothers call them tonight.
Now, that police conference, that news conference with police.
That's the best thing I heard today.
Okay, that might have happened before this occurred. I want to know what the interim police chief and the superior officers are going to have to say about this. I want to know. The people deserve answers. And among those people who deserve answers is all the people in that crowd, because they're all Canadian citizens. Every Canadian deserves an answer to that. And those cops need to be held accountable for what they've done. They have been the ones, they are the ones who unleashed violence down there today. They're the ones, not the crowd. And they need to be held accountable, including the interim chief and every other officer, senior officer who organized and planned this, because they've done nothing. They did nothing to protect that woman or keep her safe. The most vulnerable person in that crowd, likely one of the most vulnerable, if not the most vulnerable person, got trampled by a damn horse. A police horse, a police officer, or more than one.
Has anyone considered the police chief that quit? Perhaps he had some insight. Perhaps he had an opinion on the plan.
Yes.
Who, Slowly, or whatever his name is?
Yeah.
General Slowly, yes.
Yeah.
That's what we call him.
When they've known from the beginning, and it's been stated, you could hear it in the chatter, even on the CB radio and everything. The only plan these truckers have ever had, the only plan the demonstrators have ever had, is to just surrender. When the cops come to arrest you, just go. That's it.
And every cop on the ground knew it too, because it was made, that announcement was made multiple times on that center stage, loud enough for all the police on Wellington to hear.
And we've seen it repeatedly as people have been arrested. There really hasn't been much in the way of any kind of real resistance to being arrested. No resisting arrest. Just haven't seen it. If it's out there, I want to see it. But I haven't seen any violence back toward police. The interim chief sat there and said that they've been, dealing with, and in the face of taunts, he said, taunts. I saw a video of one guy, you could hear him shouting slurs at the cops, and the rest of the people in the crowd said, no, keep it positive. And then they started to sing, "Oh, Canada," and they calmed him right down, and they pulled him aside, and that was the end of that. That's what I saw today. I'm appalled, shocked, and disgusted.
There were times that the crowd yelled, shame, shame, shame. The most powerful one to me was they often yelled, join us, join us, join us.
Yep.
Yeah, I wish some of these police officers, could get a pair and, join us freedom-loving Canadians instead of, standing up for tyranny.
Well, one did, and he was thrown down by his colleagues, his brothers, and arrested.
Yeah, that's insane. Was that caught on video at all, or?
I did not catch it. I saw it from a distance. No.
So they're turning on themselves, basically.
Well, it was one. It was one cop with a moral compass, right?
Yeah.
I think I'm sure it had to be caught. There were so many people around, and as you look into the crowd, literally everyone has a camera out.
And I think Rick is right. I mean, most of the cops that are going here are probably, probably the bad apples, right? All the
young. A lot of them were very young, in their young 20s.
Looking for some excitement and action, probably.
Yeah. Full of testosterone, don't have children, don't have a lot of wisdom, haven't really lived, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Haven't seen much.
So when Randy Hillier says Canada has fallen, which was the, he's an MPP, and, He says Canada has fallen. That was his news release, his statement. Do you guys agree?
100%.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's this is not the country that I grew up in, and that I served in the military myself, right, for a decade, and I can tell you that Canadians were loved all over the world. I mean, wherever you wore that Canadian patch, I mean, you were greeted with respect, and that's gone now.
I think the world loves Canada.
The Canada that we once were.
They love Canadian truckers.
Yeah, they love Canadian truckers.
True. Okay, they love Canadians, not the country of Canada.
They don't love the government of Canada, that's for sure,
No,
right?
no.
So we've really, when we say Canada's fallen, we have really fallen. We've come from, the country that should be promoting peace to a country of, we have like a dictator, we have like a tyrant in power right now. Justin Trudeau, along with Freeland and the rest of his cronies, they don't care. They don't care. They'll destroy this country to get their own way. They don't care. In my opinion.
No, those guys don't care.
No.
Atop their ivory tower, staring down on us in disgust.
I don't know, Chrystia Freeland, every time I've seen her publicly in the last couple of weeks, she's quite fidgety. She looks quite worried.
Yeah, did you guys see that? It's like, looks like she's having a panic attack.
Looks like she has a neurological disorder, which makes me wonder if she's having some sort of reaction to the you-know-what.
Nah, it's in her face. I agree with the panic attack. She looks quite anxious. She has, she just has movements that I recognize as people who are in a full-blown anxiety attack, nervous, doing like she's guilty, like something is wrong. And she's going to get caught, and people can see through her.
Yeah, I honestly believe that she's the one probably calling the shots here in Canada. She's probably telling Justin Trudeau exactly what to do. I mean, she got promoted to deputy PM like a journalist to deputy PM all of a sudden. I don't know. Either she has dirt on Trudeau or Trudeau is leaning on her for everything. I think it's probably a bit of both. At this point,
she's definitely not qualified to be a finance critic.
No,
not at all.
I mean, you're talking about a woman whose grandfather used to run hit job pieces against the Jews in World War II. Her father was an actual Nazi. An actual grandfather was an actual real Nazi.
And she knows what tyranny is. She's spent time in the USSR. And she has had run-ins with the KGB.
Yeah. She was. I think she was working for British intelligence when she was in the USSR, spying on them.
I didn't see anything about that, but I did see that she was pushing for protest and for that sort of thing, in which the KGB took that and put her on a no-fly zone or a no-go list. So I mean, Deputy Prime Minister Freeland, if you're watching this, you know exactly what tyranny is. You know how to stop it. You are not on the right side of history.
I believe she knows it.
She knows it, yeah.
She appears to be coming unglued. Yeah. Literally. Every time.
She knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
She's seen it. She's been there. How hard is it to actually go and take a large chunk of your university education in the USSR? I think it was like a year or 2 years or something. Like, that couldn't have been an easy feat. I mean, you all are older than I am, so you'd probably know better, but I don't think you guys just knew people who were like, oh, I'm going on vacation to the USSR. It's going to be a great time.
No.
I don't think you guys knew anybody who did that. I don't know anybody.
I personally don't.
Hey, Brendan, can you do me a favor? Could you search the media site for Ottawa police and just see if they have any conditions released or mentioned on the people who are injured today?
Sure.
Let's find out if they even care.
I know I posted that picture. I took a screenshot of that picture that you showed me about the disabled women. I posted it on Twitter.
Let's see here. Updated 18 minutes ago.
Well, they've
yeah,
had-
you guys talk on. I'll dig.
Sure. Yeah, I want to know. I want to know what, I want to know if she's okay. I want to know if the other fella's okay too. And I want to know what's going on with those vets who got beaten.
Yeah, it's unimaginable that the law enforcement here in Canada would actually beat up veterans. I mean, that's just, it's a shock. I mean, I'm still in shock here, just watching all this stuff unfold.
But it's like I said earlier, all those protesters with this progressive policing philosophy that has taken hold in Canada for police services across the country. The people who are protesting down there are being portrayed and are viewed as, I think, the lowest, the people who are lowest on the social hierarchy and therefore have no rights. The government doesn't care about them.
Yeah. Basically, Justin Trudeau has been creating these two-tier society for quite some time now, right? I mean, he talked about it in the last election about, he literally persecuted anybody who didn't agree with him. So, I mean, this is just the next step of a tyrannical government, right?
And while Brendan looks up that information, just a
I
reminder
have a quick bit here before you do that.
Sure.
So it does say here that as of 3:50 p.m., it says no protesters have been injured, and a police officer sustained a minor injury. So that's what Chief Bell said. There hasn't been anything else in.
What time was that?
That was in the press conference, and that's what they're using in this article I'm looking at.
Okay, well,
what
I
time
don't
was
know
the
what
horse at? What time was the horse at?
I don't know.
Carla, what do you think?
No audio again, Carla. No audio again. Okay, she's going to sign off and come back in. She was down there, I think, at that time, so she'll have an idea on the timeline.
Yeah. All right, go ahead, Rick.
Yeah, I just wanted to remind people that Carla's down there, and just bring up again the donation portal, because we're trying to help her with her expenses in Ottawa, as she has been there about 3 straight weeks. And so we're just trying to raise a little bit of money for that and to just cover the expenses of doing these broadcasts. So for those of you who have donated, again, thank you. We are here trying to fight an information war and help combat the propaganda, honestly, that's been coming from my old employer and other mainstream media outlets. So support us, support other independent journalists, other independent media outlets, because that's where the balance is, and that's how people will find truth. freedomreporters.com. There's also a hot link to the donation page in the description on the YouTube channels and the Facebook platform as well. So, Carla, what time did that happen? Do you know?
Can you hear me? I'm okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, people keep calling me at my phone, and I think that's what's knocking out my audio. So for that, I apologize. People are obviously calling. Are you okay? Because you're not on live. Anyway, yeah. So I think it happened probably. It was about dusk. So I'm gonna guess somewhere between 5 and 5:30, maybe.
Okay. But you said that was updated 18 minutes ago, Brendan?
It had a timestamp of 3:50 p.m. and it said no report of injuries at that time.
I'm pretty sure that, but I believe the sun was out pretty bright when the veteran was beat up. And it was out not bad. It might have even been around 4 o'clock.
Well, we'll have to give them the benefit of the doubt and say that maybe that information hadn't come back to them yet. But you did say, though, on the website that they've updated that information as of 18 minutes ago?
Yeah, that article was updated 18 minutes ago, is what the timestamp said on it. It said updated 18 minutes ago.
That's that's a news release direct from police?
Yeah, it would have been from when Chief Bell spoke at around 4 p.m. today.
I'm not sure, but somebody just said that she died.
Yeah, we can't confirm or deny that, so we
Yeah, I'm just.
We don't know. That's why I wanted to get, an official statement from the cops. That's why we're checking.
They're only reporting that one officer received a minor injury and that he's fine. So hold up.
Wow.
Officer gets scraped, 2 people get trampled, but we talk about the scraped officer.
Well, they're heroes, right?
They are.
They're always our heroes.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but whenever I see an old lady with a walker, I'm absolutely horrified.
Terrified.
I just want to run her over with a horse.
Too soon, Brendan. Too soon.
Yeah, I know these guys are quite the heroes.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything about injuries.
I'm told that those mounted units were from Toronto Police Service. We've seen them pull those out before to enforce COVID mandates at a particular restaurant.
Toronto for the win then today, because the organizers made an announcement on the main stage today that there was a cab company from Toronto that has been hired by the city of Ottawa to come in and tow the trucks. Mississauga. So the GTA. Winning.
Yeah. And they're bringing in tow trucks from like other cities, right? Because the local guys.
Mississauga, one of them.
Yeah. They're just the local guys are not cooperating.
No.
And so they bring guys in from out of town. Yep.
So
My goodness!
we have dirty Toronto cops and dirty Toronto tow truck drivers.
And I hate using a term like that. I hate that. I never thought I'd ever in Canada find myself being critical of police in this manner at all. My relationship with police has always been exceptional. He always had massive, huge, incredible respect for everything police have ever done. And anytime I ever worked with them. But now, I'm afraid of them.
Yeah, it's a tough call. I mean, you know, I supported them in the past too because they never caused me any grief, even with my political stance on the issues here in Canada. But as of today, I'm kind of like, oh my God. I mean, Go ahead.
I just got a message that just popped up on my screen. Apparently, Justin Trudeau tweeted about the violence towards the police officers today.
Oh, yeah, it's the protesters' fault, right? Yeah.
Are you serious?
Serious. I mean, I don't have the tweet in front of me, but
maybe we can find that.
Yeah, I'll give me 2 seconds. So I can't find any more info on injuries other than what was reported.
Just talking about the respect, lost for the police officers. Keep in mind, I was a nurse. To me, that we were all within the same, group. They were considered colleagues of another discipline. Mm-hmm.
Violence toward the police.
Here we go. Check the share screen.
Thank you, Brendan.
So it says here, illegal blockades and occupations have threatened businesses, endangered jobs, obstructed communities for 3 weeks now. This week, to restore public order to protect Canadians as the situation evolves, our government invoked the Emergencies Act. We'll continue to make sure municipal, provincial, and federal authorities have the necessary need and do whatever is needed to keep people safe and get the situation under control. We'll make sure your rights and freedoms are protected.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God, really? As we take them all away, since you have none anymore, literally, and I'm not joking, I mean, you have no rights anymore, folks.
And here we
None.
go.
And that's Trudeau's doublespeak right there, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. For the safety of Canadians, it's always all about the safety.
It's always about safety, yeah.
He needs to wear a safety badge, the safety monitor.
I just wish they would just go in there and just arrest them. Just get this over with. The blockade.
Set those RCMP in there. They have the power.
Yeah, just lock them up, and then everybody goes home.
So, yeah, we're not seeing the tweets that you found, Carla.
I didn't find them. Someone mentioned them to me, so I was planning to look for them.
Yeah. This
See,
was
guys,
30
that's why you can't just trust what people are just saying. You have to always check.
Yeah.
Fake news out there everywhere.
Yes,
Well,
both sides.
Oh, there's trampling on the right-hand side. The word trampling and under what's happening. So there's a story there.
Oh my God.
What?
Oh God. Okay, I gotta check this out first. But I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that out loud. Give me a moment here. I think I might have.
Do you need me to pull this off while you look, just in
Yeah,
case?
please do. Give me a sec.
Someone saying Brendan just missed the tweet.
No, I was looking at it. That was from BC. It was about something different.
Yeah, that was a different incident.
But it's good that he mentioned that. Good.
Yeah. Appalling. Absolutely appalling.
Yeah, the old safety monitor looking out for his goons.
Wow.
Put it in the comments then, Cheryl. I'm getting a message from someone saying that Brendan missed the tweet. I'll screenshot it, and I told her to put it in our comments.
Sure.
No, I didn't miss it. I knew exactly what I was looking at. It said there was a thing in there about, oh, this violence is appalling, and it was about the thing in BC.
Yeah.
Oh, so there. Okay.
Yeah.
I should have known better.
He knows what he's
But
doing.
maybe it's someplace else. Maybe we have missed it. Who knows? We just haven't seen it. Can I bring this up now, Brendan, or no?
No, not yet. Hold up. I'm looking for something. If it is what I think it is, if it's not fake news, then
okay.
Get your barf buckets, folks, because it's gonna be.
I'm going to take a drink of water for this one.
I need a drink of scotch. Give me a sec.
Same. You can send some my way. You like scotch? I've got a nice bottle of Macallan at home. Belongs to Big Law.
So
15 year.
So Carla, every night you've been like leaving me with some level of optimism, some nugget of joy.
Well,
not tonight.
No. At the end of the day, I'm going to say the same thing I've been saying.
Okay.
Over the last 3 weeks, these people have shown us that they are true Canadians. They've shown us the highest level of patriotism I think this country has ever seen. They've done nothing but spread love, spread joy. Many people have been healed of whatever has happened to them over the last 2 years, whether it be losing their job, whether it be broken relationships with family members, friends, etc. People gained hope. People unified. No matter how this ends, today, tomorrow, or when it ends, or how it ends. Justin Trudeau, the government, these police officers, they can't take that. That's what we lead with. And love wins. In the end, it always conquers evil. It might not be today, but that's what I'll leave you with, Rick.
Yeah, well, evil seems to be in charge right now. That's for sure. You know, I just don't understand why can't we do something about this Justin Trudeau? Why can't we get rid of him? I don't understand. What is the blocker here? Has he subverted democracy so bad that we can no longer get rid of him? Nobody can call in on confidence. Are we stuck with this guy for the rest of our lives? That's really the question that I've been asking myself.
Yeah. And as I said, I'm worried that this Emergencies Act, which is really the War Measures Act, I'm petrified. I think he's going to get it passed in full by Parliament. I think he's going to hang on to it, and he's going to continue. He's going to use that to go after domestic terrorists.
Let's not lose the. That's a frightening thought, Rick Walker. But let's not forget that it has to still get through the Senate. I'm pretty sure we're going to lose in the Parliament, but we have to still hang on to hope in the Senate.
Okay, so the sick thing here that I was telling you about, it appears Ottawa police are claiming that the walker was somebody threw a bicycle in front of the horse. And I have a screenshot of a tweet here, but I can't find that exact tweet. So is it fake news or is it not fake news? But it does say here, as the protesters continued their assaultive behavior with the police line to prevent an escalation or further injury, mounted officers were sent in to create critical space between the police line and protesters. This is done to create a safe distance. As this was happening, a bicycle was thrown at the feet of one of our horses in an attempt to injure it. One person was arrested for intentionally harming a police service animal.
Is this a police media release, Brendan?
On Twitter.
Okay, so it's on their Twitter account. Okay.
Yeah, it's on their Twitter account. I can't find this tweet, so I dare not share it because you could very easily manufacture a fake tweet.
So, wait.
But are you on the police service Twitter account?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and so that's what they've written on their own account.
Written, but I have a screenshot of a tweet from 4:48 today, and it says, as this was happening, okay, I see what somebody did. Somebody added the picture after the fact. So the police are claiming that a horse was injured by a bicycle, and it was the woman's walker.
And we said this, and I don't know if it's true, but people keep saying the lady has died. We have not been able to verify that. I don't know where that information is coming from, but a lot of people are saying it. But you know how rumors can spread, right? So if that's what you're seeing on social media tonight, folks, we don't know.
No, we don't.
We want to find out if she's okay or what her condition is. We don't know. But that's just what people are saying.
Yeah, I've been getting this a lot, like on my Twitter feed. People are telling me she's dead. She died shortly afterwards. I don't know. Again, we got to find out the facts, right? So.
Yeah.
And if that is the case, I don't know if police would want that out there while this exercise is going on, because, the people are not going to be happy.
No.
No.
I'm sure that won't be reported.
We need to find out.
We do.
Well, I don't think we're going to hear about it till tomorrow.
For sure.
But, I don't know what to say, but this is insane. If they are in fact claiming that a bicycle, this old lady's bicycle was a walker, or walker was a bicycle, they're sick in the head, and that will be a prime example right out of the page of Orwell. The past was erased, the erasure was forgotten, and the lie became the truth.
So, Carla, can you confirm with confidence that lady uses a walker, and that's what it was that was under that horse, not a bicycle?
I have video footage of that lady dancing with that walker. So unless she wasn't using her walker at the time she was trampled, maybe she was miraculously healed. I don't know.
Or maybe she traded her walker in for a bicycle?
She may have.
To ride in the snow?
Possible.
There was how much snow overnight? 11 inches, 30 centimeters?
There was a lot of snow. So how
many people ride a bicycle around in the snow? Have you seen anyone riding bikes?
I cannot confirm that I saw a single bicycle today.
It would be a rather difficult thing to ride a bicycle around in 11 inches of snow, even after the fact, even after plowing. Wouldn't you agree?
I would agree, and I would also agree that in that area, the plows have not been there. It's only been shoveled by the volunteers of the protest.
Not the city.
Absolutely not the city.
Right. So it was courteous of the protesters to clear the area of snow for the officers who came in to execute their plan.
Yes.
Because they wanted to keep people safe, which is why they've also been salting the sidewalks.
Exactly. And those are, incidentally, the only salted sidewalks downtown on Slater Street. The sidewalks are not clean, and they are not salted, and that is the responsibility of the city.
And we have video footage from the past 3 weeks to show people that that is exactly what they've been doing down there.
Correct.
We also have
In other news,
collaboration.
someone did ask me a question, and I'm hoping that you can answer. Is death penalty still the punishment for treason? I wonder why they asked that.
I don't know. That's a very interesting question.
It
though,
is an
isn't
interesting question.
Well, in Trudeau's case, maybe we should reinstall it.
Well, I was thinking, I was wondering if treason is serious enough for us to bring back capital punishment in this instance. I mean, while we've got the Emergency Act, we should. I think all bets are off, right?
And Brendan, somebody's saying that information came off a CTV news story. Is that where you got that information, or was it off the Ottawa Police Service website?
Hold up. I'm just going to pull
Twitter.
up the tweet, and then y'all can stop asking.
Yeah, let's take a look at it, get it on the screen so we know what the source is. We want to be accurate. We want to know what the source is.
Yeah, hold up.
It's important.
Well, I already said Ottawa Twitter. I'll just bring it up and show. All right. Because y'all
Mark,
don't
aren't you
believe
grateful
me.
you don't? Aren't you grateful, Mark, that you're not responsible for having to bring these things up? I mean, I personally could never do the job Brendan's doing right now. It's a lot of pressure.
It is a lot of pressure. All right, let's see.
So just go to the top. Yeah, it's Ottawa Police.
Yes, see? Ottawa Police.
There you go. Yep.
And,
Okay.
I just got to find the part about the bike again. Give me a sec.
So that's a reliable place to get information about what police are saying because they're posting it themselves. So it says, we hear your concern for people on the ground after the horses dispersed a crowd. Anyone who fell got up and walked away. We're unaware of any injuries. A bicycle was thrown at the horse further down the line and caused the horse to trip. The horse was uninjured. Go back, Brendan, please.
No, that's not the tweet. Trust me, that's a new tweet because it looks like they're catching
That's
crap.
1 hour ago.
That's 1 hour ago. There's an old
Yeah, but look at the sky. That is not 1 hour ago that it happened.
The picture is
guys. They've been catching crap on Twitter since it happened, and they posted this 1 hour ago trying to pick up their mess. So down below here, I know exactly what I'm looking at. I was already looking at it. So hold the phone. Here we go. This is it. The protesters continue their assaultive behavior to prevent an escalation or further injury. Mounted officers were sent in to create a critical space between the police line and protesters. This is done to create a safe distance. As this was happening, a bicycle was thrown at the feet of one of the horses in an attempt to injure it. One person was arrested for intentionally harming a police service animal. That's the original tweet.
That's the original tweet, which was 3 hours ago. But go back up to the one from an hour ago. Go back up to that other one and look at what they wrote. They said, we're unaware of any injuries. How could they be unaware of any injuries when they had two people trampled by horses, including
Surely
a woman with a
officer-
walker? They
surely
were
the
right
officer-
there.
The officer that was riding the horse must have seen. It must have been a bumpy ride. Certainly, he would see if there was someone underneath the horse's foot.
And not only that, they must have seen the other officers there. There were lots of other officers around, and you had two people laying on the ground after being trampled, and you had people shouting and telling them, hey, 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 this woman got trampled. We showed you the video. Unless they've all got earplugs in and they're all stone deaf. Now, we did see the woman, it appeared that she was up, right? At the end of that video?
No,
she wasn't up?
picked up. She was picked up.
picked
She's
up.
got two
Carried
officers
out.
carrying her like this out of there.
Two officers were carrying her?
Yeah, so after the horses came through, the cops came in and then pushed everybody over, and then they grabbed the woman in the red coat, and then they started walking her away. She was not walking on her own free will.
Let's cue this up and watch it one more time.
I didn't see any bike in the video, so.
No.
I did see two male protesters carrying out a woman in a white coat, and I don't know what happened to her.
Trampling horses, trampling. Stop it.
There's a woman in this. You can't see her walker. But here, look, see, the police rush in now. There's the walker.
I'm going backwards here.
The walker is to the left.
Okay, so here she is. She's standing right to the left of the camera. Somehow she gets knocked over.
Somehow.
She's now down on the ground.
Police rush in. And you'll see her being carried off in the back.
Horse is coming forward again. She's knocked to the ground. I don't know if the horse actually trampled on her. See the legs? She's definitely on the ground. Might have hit her walker there or feet, I can't tell. And
I thought it hit her head, no?
No, it comes down on the other side of her
But
head, I believe.
the other lady, it hit someone, I thought.
Yeah, the other guy got trampled for sure. We could see from the other image that, and it's not really good in this from this angle, but yeah, he was trampled as we saw from the other angle that we showed earlier. So the horses are clear now. So it's not clear if they were if she was struck by the horses or not, by their hooves, but definitely knocked to the ground by them. And I'll let this roll again.
Oh my God! They just trampled this lady. They just trampled that lady.
From the other angle earlier, you could definitely see that the horses were trampling them. That at least the one guy severely
Trampled that lady. They just fully trampled that lady.
And that witness says that she was trampled.
There's the lady that was trampled. Yeah, the lady got fully trampled with a horse.
What the fuck is
No,
wrong with you guys?
you just got crushed by a horse. Oh, come on through. Come on through. What is happening here? Wow, what is this lady doing? Trampling. Trampling horses. Trampling. Stop it. Stop it. Whoa. Oh my God. They just trampled this lady. They just trampled that lady. They just fully trampled that lady. They just fully trampled that lady. There's the lady. There's the lady that was trampled.
Too
The lady
much.
got fully trampled with a horse.
And can we see her in the background there being taken away in this video?
Yeah, you can. I was trying to point that out there. So, over more. Left, 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 left. You'll see the red back. She's the only protester that's at the back of the police line. There it is, at the back there.
There she is there, I guess, right?
Yeah. If you
So
keep
she's being carried?
Yeah, she's got two,
I see.
an
I
officer
see.
on each arm.
Yep. So they took her away, which is
Yeah.
good.
Yes, that makes me happy to know.
And so
Trampled with a horse.
we need to be very careful in what information we're giving out. And again, in spite of these claims that we're hearing, we don't know what her condition is.
No, we don't.
We
We
do
gotta
not.
Nor
know
the
that.
condition of the other person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think somebody posted something in chat about an article in Post Millennial. I was just looking for it.
Yeah, everybody's speculating. We don't know.
Yeah.
And
There's not going to be an official press release on it until tomorrow.
but I find it hard to believe from the videos we've seen today, including the veterans being beaten, that incident with the horses. I find it hard to believe that there were no injuries among the protesters. None.
But
Which is
let's
what
let
police
us
are
not
saying.
forget the scratch on the officer.
Right.
Yeah.
I find
Well-
it very hard to believe.
Yeah, so do I, actually.
Well,
It's a sad day in Canada, I
It
must
is
say.
a sad day. Well, you know what? I do have other things to get to this evening, and it is
yeah,
with-
just going to bring up the live feed here for one last look as we prepare to wrap up for the night. This is the scene there. What do you make of that, Carla?
This is what's happening now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Looks like they've gained more ground, quite a bit. So they're still on a standoff, huh?
Yeah, amazing. 9:43 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is the situation in Ottawa tonight.
So I would speculate that these officers are hoping that more people will go to sleep, as I did, as I came back, you know. Because what's happening here is the same thing that's happening on the Ambassador Bridge. I'm going to guess that they're going to change out the officers, but the protesters aren't changing out.
Right.
Yes.
Wear them down. Use
Mhm.
attrition, right?
Yeah.
Keep getting the crowd thinner and thinner and thinner. Take them out a bit at a time.
My only hope is
Erosion.
that they don't wear them down to the point where they become defensive. Because these officers are pushing physically.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it might
tonight
be
Sorry, go ahead, Mike.
I was going to say it might be safer to stick with the crowd and try not to get pulled off on your own anywhere.
I
Especially
agree.
in Ottawa.
I agree.
Well, it is with a very heavy heart. It's been a wild ride for the past 4 weeks, I guess it is now, huh?
It's the
Weekend
fourth
number
weekend.
4. And Mike, I'm so glad that you came on the show today and returned my call today. It's been an honor and a pleasure to talk about these issues with you. Where can people find you if you would like to implement any plugs that you may have?
Yeah, sure. You can visit my website at miketmcmullen.ca. You can find me from there. You can find my social media, my Twitter, Facebook, phone number, whatever other contact information you need. And I look forward to hearing from everybody. Thank you very much for having me on.
Yeah. You
It's
guys?
great to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you. Thank you for your great work in Ottawa. I mean, being the eyes and the ears, I'm sure Canadians, we need that kind of information for sure.
Thanks.
And I'm Brendan Kennedy, with the host of the Flow of Discourse podcast in conjunction with Maverick Multimedia and Maverick News. Thank you for listening. It's been a pleasure.
And I'm Carla Olson, on the ground in Ottawa. Just reminding you to continue to always be kind, be Canadian.
And please subscribe to our YouTube channels, Facebook platforms, like, share, subscribe, ring the bell, do the notification, do all that stuff. And visit freedomreporters.com if you can to donate to help us cover the bills and keep this broadcast coming to you. We are on the front lines, especially Carla in Ottawa, on the front lines of the information war as we try to provide as much balance as we can against the propaganda of the legacy media. And I'm Rick Walker with Maverick Multimedia and Maverick News, thanking you all for joining us. We will be back tomorrow. We will continue to monitor the situation, and if there are major developments, we will come back live to update you over the next 24 hours. And we will be back on tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as our coverage of Freedom Convoy 2022 Cruising to the Capitol continues. Thank you all for watching. Catch you all on the flip side.